Good afternoon. Hey, welcome in. How's it going?
It's going, man.
Well, you're not hearing us on 1080 AM. I can assure you of that.
Oh, the rats got into the network
No.
again.
We're still sure?
Yeah, there is
Still down?
Yeah. I just talked to Joey in engineering. This is out of our control. This is a power issue.
Yeah.
That's happening.
Yes.
There's a big power issue.
There is
apparently,
nothing locally that we can do.
where our
the
transmitter
towers are?
is,
Yeah.
our AM transmitter, where that lies and lives.
There's no generator up there?
Well, that is dead.
Oh.
Probably because of the rats, like you said.
The
Actually,
rats,
you did
yeah.
say the rats.
Well, rats, there's, look, I remember back in the old Crazy Eyes McGinley days, too. There'd be homeless people up there.
There is
and
there is a
abandoned
camp.
RVs. And
There is a camp there. It's not.
vehicle fires
I
and such.
may or may not have been asked if I was willing to arm myself and go out there once.
Yeah, well. Which was obviously a quick yes from Danny.
Yes.
One thing that we know from Danny, he was like, "Yep."
Yeah. Where do I sign up?
They're like, "Will you arm yourself?" Yes.
Yes.
They're like, "We didn't even ask like what."
Yeah. We didn't even finish the question.
Danny just lifted up his shirt and was like, "I'm already ready.
I mean,
I'm strapped.
you're not wrong.
I got it."
I got the one down on my ankle holster, too.
Yeah.
You know, I tried going ankle a couple times.
Of course you did.
I can't.
No.
It feels I don't like sleeves and like cuffs around my ankles. So no, I couldn't handle.
Danny's
the
like, I
3
couldn't
pound weight.
hoop at the 24-hour fitness with my strap on my ankle.
No, even
Just wouldn't let me get to the rim.
From
No.
the hips down, man, it's a disaster.
I mean, yeah.
Well, the other problem is like you being able to get down there and get to that with the hip issue. It's like, crap. I got to get down there to my piece. It's not going to be as quick. I mean, you are more of, John Wick on the shoulders, just reaching back and just coming over the top and pop, pop, pop.
So
God, did somebody kill his puppy, too?
No, no.
Okay,
you don't
good.
ever want that happening.
Jeez.
Danny's not going to be here for like a year
Yeah.
if that happens.
I would go. I think I've mentioned this before. The John Wick story is actually built on a very small grain of truth as it pertains to Marcus Luttrell, the Navy SEAL. A group of bandits beat his and shot and killed his dog.
Yeah.
And he chased them across state lines. It was wild.
Yeah. All right.
So, but yeah, no, I was actually just looking. My getting real in depth. My conceal and carry firearm. I was like, I think it weighs close to a pound. It weighs 13.5 ounces unloaded. So about a pound loaded.
Oh, wow! Look at that.
Yeah,
That sounds. I think that's about half the weight of my burrito that I got in here earlier today.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But
Jeff got the biggest burrito I have ever.
it was like my forearm.
seen.
That thing is beefy.
It was. I didn't even know they made tortillas that big.
So real quick,
Yeah.
I might have mentioned this at one point in time. Rico's Burritos. You know the burrito truck in Beaverton?
Sure.
It has been there forever on the corner of Allen and Hall, I think.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if it's still there, but it was there forever.
Yep.
And when I would get done with football practice, I would go down there. It was $4 for that exact same size burrito, a carne asada burrito. I would eat that, then go home and eat dinner.
See, those were.
Do you remember those days when we would eat
Yeah.
an endless amount of food and it did not matter?
Yeah, and it just was like, oh well, I'm trying to pack on weight. Well, nope.
Nope.
Just wouldn't happen.
No. And that was my pre-dinner.
Metabolism is a hell of a thing.
Yeah, where did that go?
Yeah.
I would really just like to spread the metabolism out over life. So instead of having an obscene metabolism
Yeah.
that heretofore unseen on the planet
Okay.
in my late teens and early 20s,
Mhm.
and just have it be remotely viable into my 30s and 40s.
That's not how it works.
No?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Mm-mm. Nope, that's not how it works. They'll get you. That metabolism will get you.
I do remember back in those days, though, by Beaverton High School, the fantastic 59-cent bean burritos at Mexicali Express. We'd hit there for lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
$1.25 street tacos?
Probably 3 times a week.
3 times a week.
Yeah. That was back when we had open campus for lunch too.
that's
Before
funny.
they closed everything down, we could actually walk off school.
Well, I mean, I did too, but our security guard would yell to me, "Make smart choices."
yeah,
And I did yell back, "You want anything from Mexicali?"
exactly.
Yeah, they wouldn't
They made a
trust
fine bean
us
burrito.
They wouldn't trust us with that.
It was shortly after I left when they closed down the campus.
Well, yeah,
and they
the
brought
kid
in
got
a
hit by the
food
train.
court. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Terrible things.
terrible things.
No, yeah, I mean, kid getting hit by a train.
That's
They
bad.
they shut down the whole district for off campus because of that.
Oh, really?
That also happened my freshman year at Willamette too, because there was a Amtrak
Were
track
you
that
the
ran
one
up
out there
the
running people over?
ran up the east side of the campus,
Goodness.
and somebody got hit by a train there and died too. All right, so
Gosh.
Thursday.
I have never.
He's the one that brought up people getting hit by trains.
Yeah. All
He's
right.
not wrong.
I was just talking about a burrito.
I had a homeless guy in my yard this morning.
Tell
in
me more.
Newburgh.
Yeah. Well, see, here's the thing.
It's 2 blocks from everything.
He's not wrong, but we have one park, like one big park right on 99, Herbert Hoover Park.
Yeah,
And-
because he's from there.
Yes.
That's where Herbert Hoover is from. People
Yeah.
know this about
The house
Hoover.
is there.
Yes, it is.
Lived in Oregon like almost my entire life, and I had no idea that Herbert Hoover lived in Oregon.
Never knew that till Danny got here.
No, and I didn't know that until my sister lived out there. But it's become haven's probably too strong of a word, but think of like a small camp that we have here next to the studio.
Okay.
That has become a thing where
It's popped up, huh?
yeah, well they hopped on there's a bus that goes from Newburgh to Portland. And
Oh, really?
They hopped on the bus.
Hmm.
I only know this because I talked to one of the local cops because they kind of help police it.
Mhm.
But I put my puppies out at midnight last night, and they started barking, which made me want to kill them because, like, oh my god, they're gonna wake the neighbors.
Yeah.
But then I hear somebody talking outside my fence, and I'm like, okay. I open the fence, and there's somebody clearly on drugs
Okay.
talking to themselves in the middle of the street,
Well, that's not good.
and I'm like, he's in the middle of the street, so. Whatevs. Just turn around, go back inside, put the dogs back in. I peeked out the window to make sure that he wasn't there before we're going to bed. Well, he was there. I just missed him because he had curled up apparently next to my fence and was just sleeping there.
Oh, I
like, wait,
feel
what?
like your yard is probably booby trapped. And they didn't catch it. Like you don't have anything like that.
Well, not on the like.
You strike me as a man who'd have a booby trapped yard.
I mean, yes, but in the yard.
Oh, right.
Like
Right.
if you cross
so you
in
cross,
the fence.
Yeah, you go over the fence.
Yeah, like that's where it becomes problematic. That's where we have the fall away pit with the spikes.
Yeah.
Like that's a thing.
Terrifying. All right.
But yeah, my wife
That's scary though.
my wife texted me this morning and said, "Hey, I
My
just had a cop
wife.
come to the door.
And they asked, "Hey, is this?"
Is this your homeless person?"
Oh, and would you? Are you cool with him
No.
sleeping there?
No, I definitely do not
No.
want people sleeping in my yard, especially when I'm not home.
No, like that's
Like, look, I feel bad
Can't
for
do
him and all that, but
that's awful.
you got to take it somewhere else, dog.
Yeah. Yeah, not here.
Not here.
You mentioned your dog waking up the neighbors. Did you see this story out of California? What's going on in San Francisco right now?
What the hell is that?
So I didn't know. I learned about Waymo. Do you know Waymo is autonomous driving vehicles?
So that's what those are going off?
So what happens
my
is
God.
they
Is
have
it
these.
way better than anything else?
No, it's way worse if you live near it because neighbors, and I don't know if you've heard this, San Francisco, very affordable to live in, very cheap to live.
Very much.
Yeah, more so than Portland even.
Yeah, it is. There are people in a high-rise condo in the south of Market area of San Francisco who have been complaining about cars honking all night long, like all throughout the night.
I saw this, yes.
So from like midnight till like 4 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
there's just cars honking nonstop. And they're like, what is going on? One of the neighbors has taken video now of these autonomous driving vehicles, these Waymo cars. Nobody's in the vehicles. Their self-parking lot is right next to this high-rise condo, and the cars have all the sensors in them, will start honking if any car gets close, if any vehicle gets close to it. Well, as all of these Waymo cars are coming home from the night, from, I guess, driving people around San Francisco, as they park in this parking lot, they're doing the parallel parking. They are getting too close to the other cars, so the sensors go off. There's nobody in the cars, and they are just honking as they park themselves all night long.
It is a never-ending cavalcade of stupid.
Well, and yes, and they're honking because
of
they're
the
getting
sensors.
stuck behind the other things, and yes,
because as the cars are parking and they're pulling in and doing their parallel parking, they're getting too close, and that is the built-in sensor for the warning. And the neighbor's like, "Can you turn those off between, I don't know, midnight and 4 a.m. as the cars are parking themselves?"
And these Waymo cars are the only things dumber than any other individual at a four-way stop.
Yeah, I believe that to be true at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's 100%.
You want to talk about rage fuel. If you had, and it's like every car in the lot will start honking. Like they all just, because as they do the parallel parking, they go by all of them and they get really close and the horns are just going off all night long. That would drive me crazy.
Yep.
That would drive me crazy.
That's why you don't live in the city.
Yeah, you know what? That's why I don't live in San Francisco.
That's the one and only reason.
That's it right there. The commute would be brutal.
Yeah.
Commute would be brutal, but that's it right there.
From San Francisco all the way to here.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
Crazy commute.
Well, did you hear about, like, there were stories of, there was a Cal student that was from the
already sounds about right.
Well, they lived in the Redlands area of California, so Southern California near Ontario, right? So as you're leaving LA, heading towards Palm Springs, there's Redlands, Ontario. It was cheaper for this Cal student who had class 2 days a week to fly
to fly in
and out
than to live there,
from Redlands to Berkeley than it was to rent a place to live there.
Yeah.
Because they just said, I get my classes 2 days a week. I'll stay one night on a friend's couch, give them a few shekels, make dinner, and then next day I will fly back. So they had class like, Wednesday, Thursday. And that was it for them. It was cheaper for them to do that than to live in Berkeley and go to school there. Or even live on the outskirts of Berkeley and drive in. That was cheaper. That blew my mind. Like that, how expensive that it is to live up there is crazy.
Yeah, no, that makes sense considering how if you have a house that's like 800 square feet, it's worth like $3 million.
Yeah. It's nuts. It's nuts. Impossible to buy there.
Do not understand it.
All right. Hey, we got a sports show today. If you're listening on Odyssey app, 99.5 HD2, youtube.tv/1080am The Fan. That's up and working. Twitch.tv/1080 The Fan. We still got 4 ways for you to listen. It's just not the one that you usually listen on.
Yeah.
For most people.
It's just not the easiest one.
No. So,
but we're working on it.
Hey, tell your friends. Let's get out there. Spread the word.
Mobilize, as they say.
Yeah, get your P1s on out there and let them all know. We're still partying on this Thursday afternoon. It's finally Thursday for me. Yesterday I said every day had been Wednesday.
Still thought today was Friday.
Feels like Wednesday, babe.
My Friday now. I'm out of here tomorrow.
Feels like
suckers.
Thursday. All right, good.
Wow.
Good for you.
Wow.
All right, today the Portland Trailblazers, their schedule has just been released.
Dun, 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 dun.
Ah! We teased it at the end of our show as well. The Blazers give the deuces to Root right after our show. We've got some NFL news and notes. Got some baseball stuff, too. Baseball's maybe...
Doing things?
Is Rob Manfred on the come-up?
No.
Is Rob Manfred actually redeeming himself a little bit as the commissioner of Major League Baseball? There may be another significant rule change coming down the pipeline for Major League Baseball. Where we got to start, though, the Portland Trailblazers did release their schedule for the 2024-2025 season. We will go 1 through 82 every season. No, we're not going to do that. But some games of note and games of consequence. Blazer fans, don't be worried that the team's going to be too good because this stretch early in the year that you warned us of yesterday, it's more brutal than you even kind of let on, Danny.
Look, to be fair, have any of us ever been super concerned that this team would be too good?
There's a lot of Blazer fans that have been. There's a lot of Blazer fans that are like, I think they could do the play-in. They will not. That's where we start next on The Fan.
My wife.
Portland Trailblazers schedule was released for the 24-25 season. We talked about this yesterday. Spoiler alert. You have the schedule.
I've had the schedule for a week. I'm not gonna steal their thunder.
We have known.
Yeah, I thought you were supposed to be our Blazer insider. Where's the sneak peeks, man?
I mean, I gave a couple yesterday.
You did. You did.
A couple.
You did. We talked about the 7-game road trip.
Yeah, and I didn't spoil the home opener. I just said that they opened at home.
The one national game, and we talked about yesterday. They will open at home and close
at home.
the season at home,
and it will be against the Warriors and the Lakers.
Yeah, the Golden State Warriors coming to town for the opener. Terry Stotts return.
Hey, return to the Terror Bear.
And
I got to see him in Summer League, by the way.
How was he?
He's great.
Good.
It was good to see him.
Well, Terry Stotts is a good dude.
He really is one of the good dudes of basketball.
There's just you can't hate the Terror Bear.
No, you can't.
But he also
he's a giant red ass.
And overprotected his players and did not keep it legit and real with the media on the struggles of his team. Got very defensive.
Oh yeah,
when things were not going right.
He took it for the team.
He shouldered a lot of that burden for guys that he didn't need to.
No, and that's why his players. Not the only reason, but that's one of the reasons why his players loved him.
Yeah, but he
took all the arrows.
I feel like he should have maybe sometimes driven a bus to prove a point.
100%.
Because there were guys who
deserved it.
Needed it at times. But Terry Stotts and the Golden State Warriors will return. He's not the head coach. He is Steve Kerr's assistant coach.
Indeed.
But Steve Kerr, gold medal winning coach. Mm-hmm. Steph Curry,
gold medal winning.
French Devil.
Yeah.
American hero. The one and the same.
There is an article floating around right now from The Athletic that says, according to some metrics, the Warriors actually improved over last season. And there's been this talking point of that. And, man, I can't buy it. Are they going to be better than the Blazers? Yes. They're still a play-in team. You did not get get better by getting rid of Klay Thompson and getting like lesser parts. Like Buddy Hield is not like he's a fine bench piece. He is not this insane thing. Like and DeAnthony Melton, which is I love him, fight on and everything, but like
we're gonna want to clip this for when DeAnthony Melton and Buddy Hield go off for 35 apiece and in the opener.
They're entirely fine players.
And they do have the ability to go off in particular games. Yeah.
But like this idea that they're like, oh no, they're deeper. I'm like, they still have one guy who can handle the ball.
Yeah. All right. Well, outside of that opener, we talked about how difficult that stretch was going to be yesterday early in the year. And boy howdy, it is a gauntlet. Blazers are not going to be trying to win a lot of games this year because of the draft.
Because of Cooper Flag. That's why.
27 of their first 29 games that's the stretch you were talking about yesterday.
27 of the first 29 are against the West.
And 26 of them are really good teams.
Yes. 16 of their first 18 games are part of 3 games and 4 nights.
That's tough.
So you have this 30 game start the season where everyone you're playing is not just like they're kind of good. It's the West with the only quote unquote bad teams being Houston and San Antonio. I think there's one Jazz game in there if I remember right.
There's a Jazz game.
Yeah, there's one Utah game at home. Other than that, you are getting everything the West has to offer. Legitimately. Coming out of those 30 games, if they are 10-20, it will be a miracle. I genuinely don't think they'll win 10 games.
Yeah, and they're all really good teams. I mean, there are some quirks in the schedule that do lend to wins happening, right? So you'll have in that first gauntlet of games, you play the New Orleans Pelicans 2 times in 3 nights, right? October 25th and 27th. Then you have another one of those against the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? In November 12th and 13th, a back-to-back against the Timberwolves. And you have a back-to-back in Houston against the Rockets. Historically, even though teams are significantly better, historically in the NBA, we do see a lot of splits in those games. Just playing the same team twice, even if it is a better team than one is significantly better than the other. you do see, and I'm not saying that they're going to split all three of those pairings of games, but at the same time, like, the Blazers aren't going to be 0-29 in their first 29 games.
Well, Danny just said what? 10 out of the first 30, 10-20 in the first 30 games. Isn't that still ahead of the pace that we want them to be on? Winning 10 out of 30 games?
Well, that leads us to another point. There is a 7-game road trip from late February into early March, and we know how those go.
Okay. Yeah, and it's not even that tough a trip. You actually have Utah, Washington, and Brooklyn, the 3 worst teams in the league, not named the Blazers. And at that point in time,
tell you what,
those teams will be having the great suck off.
There will be a run where people are like, oh, maybe, because they have before that trip starts, the last game of their homestand is Charlotte at home, and then they go to Utah, to Washington, to Brooklyn. Those are 4 games that are going to be winnable, and we know how Blazer fans react to winning 3 or 4.
This is when you will see the commitment to the tank.
Yeah.
This is when it will hit you right in the face.
The NBA last year said that they wanted to make it a point of emphasis to stop the 4 games in 5 nights and limit those, and also limit back-to-backs. Last year, everybody's like, you're limiting back-to-backs? The Blazers had 14 of them last year. They have 13 this year. They did go down by 1 back-to-back. How about that? That's good news.
And they don't have 2 7-game trips this year, because last year they had 2.
Yeah.
There are some decent quirks in the schedule. I still, that beginning of November, I cannot not look at just endlessly, because this is what's going to set the tone for the entire season. And I'm hoping that what comes of it is they lose, but they're competitive, kind of what we hoped last year, and that guys are healthy, and that what you do is you play the starting lineup, and they can still play 28 to 32 minutes, and the young guys go out there and they play the rest of their 20 minutes, and at the end of the night, it's a 7-point loss.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's not, you're not turning it off at halftime.
Well,
you're not getting your teeth kicked.
That's what I'm hoping for, is that we don't see what was it?
2 50-point losses.
53 and 51 point loss.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it was?
I think that's what it was.
I don't want to see those.
No.
And we may, like,
one might pop up at the end of the season.
We may see one of those. But there were several games, though, that were, 30-point losses. You want to see that gap being closed just a little bit, but not wins. LeBron, you mentioned at the end of the year, the Lakers come to Portland. Could be our last chance to ever see LeBron James.
Yes.
In Portland. Do you think he retires? I watched the Olympics and I said, that dude, it's not just that he can play one more year. That dude can play a few more years.
What the difference is going to be, like, when does it happen? Does he pull the groin this year? Yeah. Does he tear the knee this year? Knock on wood. I don't want that happening. But even the freakish of freaks, eventually it comes up and grabs you. Father Time, undefeated. And I jokingly say PEDs, but also being dead serious. Even that doesn't preclude this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, the best medicine and everything you can do, your body will eventually break down.
Yeah.
And that's the question, I think. But yeah, I mean, I'm honestly surprised that game isn't nationally televised.
The last one, just because it's the last of the regular season.
Honestly, I think they'll flex it in.
You could flex it in if the Lakers are in dire straits and not good, which is
or
a
playoff
very
positioning
real possibility.
And the possibility that it could be LeBron's last regular season game.
Yeah. Okay, I could see that too.
If any game on this schedule was going to get flexed in, it's that one.
All right. Well, one nationally televised game, and that is Tuesday, January 28th. Damian Lillard comes back to Portland. It'll be on TNT.
Yep. And they're not picking up anything else unless something egregious happens.
All right.
So tonight I'll go home and do, that's a win, that's a loss. I'll play my game and see what I come up with.
You're going to do that, huh?
Yeah, I always do it.
That's going to be
I usually end up relatively close.
Well, good. And then tomorrow we will come back with Danny's official over-under total, and we'll all bet it.
What I'm
because that's what we do.
What I'm actually waiting for is Positive Residual on Twitter. He has an app where he uploads the entire schedule for the entire league, and you can see rest advantage, rest disadvantage, travel, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And I use that in my calculations. So once he has that up, I can dive into it, because even for bad teams, that stuff means so much. Like if you've got like a 3-day rest advantage on a really good team, and because you're in Portland, if you're playing at home, chances are it's the end of a road trip.
Oh, yeah, because they don't just send you up to Siberia
to start the road trip. No, it's usually where you end, or you might kick down to LA and then go home. You're never the beginning or the middle of the trip.
Man.
You're usually the end. So you get teams that will come in here after playing at altitude in Denver, and they're like, oh, for the love of God.
Also, one thing that you can note, if you're looking at the Blazers schedule in your cycle, like Danny, you're counting all the games. There are 2 games that are unaccounted for. That's the in-season tournament for when they don't make the actual bracket. They will backfill that with 2 games that the Blazers will play. There are only 80 games on the schedule. So are you going to count those? How are you going to count those? What are you going to do for those?
Because they'll come from the bracket. I'll likely take the 2 worst teams from the bracket.
Okay. and then you go from there.
LA.
Boy, they're going to play Houston a lot early in the year then.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're going to play Minnesota 3 times in 4 games.
Yeah. But also, they have, in the midst of the in-season tournament, they'll play Houston twice, not in their pod, but as part of regular season games. And then who did you say the other team was?
I think it's the Lakers.
In the Lakers. Then obviously...
it's the Clippers. Clippers are in their pod.
All right. They will have the Clippers only twice. That's not that bad. They got the Clippers twice and Houston twice. So they'll have them 3 times. You'll play the Clippers and the Rockets likely before you hit Christmas.
Yeah.
Can I still say my main beef with like this whole
say whatever you want
in-season tournament thing is that they got their games on a Tuesday and a Friday and what have you, but it's that this game counts for the in-season tournament, but the game that's in 2 nights, that one doesn't count, and then there's another one next week that does count.
It's a no countsies,
and 2 or 3 games in between that don't count.
Yeah.
No, you're picking it up.
Yeah, but they do count.
Well, not towards the in-season tournament,
but they count towards everything else.
And just anyway, to me,
you need to catch up on your European soccer.
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. Well, big gulps, huh? Well, see you later. Okay. Let's get to the other NBA news that we have here. Ding dong, the witch is dead.
Woo!
And what it means for Rip City fans. Root Sports, you gone. After Rust with SportsCenter.
I could see them winning this game. I could see them losing this game.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Mariners and Tigers wrapping up their 3-game set this morning. The Mariners starting the day 2.5 games behind the Astros in the American League West. And bad news, top of the 9th now in Detroit. The Tigers with a 2-1 lead over the Mariners thanks to a Javier Lopez 2-run home run in the bottom of the 8th for Detroit. Elsewhere, top of the 6th from Queens, the A's and Mets are tied at 6 apiece, and the bottom of the 5th in Milwaukee, Dodgers and the Brew Crew tied at 3 apiece. The Braves and Giants getting ready to get ready in San Francisco. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting Bills linebacker Matt Milano suffered a torn biceps. He is out indefinitely. He'll have surgery, and the hope is he'll be available in December. Round 1 of the FedEx St. Jude Championship at TP Southwind in Memphis. Chris Kirk at the top of the leaderboard, partially thanks to an ace on 14. He shot a 6 under 64. He is 1 stroke clear of Taylor Pendrith, Mathieu Pavon, and Sam Burns. Among those tied for 5th at 4 under par are Justin Rose, Tommy Fleetwood, Scotty Scheffler. The best name in golf, Seamus Power, Jordan Spieth, and Wyndham Clark. Seamus Power and Jordan Spieth are at 3 under par. Wyndham Clark, Rory McIlroy, and Colin Morikawa all at 2 under par, 4 strokes off the pace. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Fan Merch Locker has new shirts from the fan shows and hosts you love. Get yours now at 1080thefan.com.
Girl, I must warn you. The Blazers gave plenty of warning to Root, and they said, we gone.
We gone.
Yesterday, it became official shortly after we got done with the show, and we teased this.
It's super helpful to tease when you're the one breaking it.
Seen it coming that the Portland Trail Blazers and Root would be parting ways in their agreement. This was the slowest car going over the cliff.
Yeah, I reported this back on April 1st that the Portland Trail Blazers were...
It was not April Fool's joke.
No, that they were looking at ways to get out of Root. And I knew at that point in time that they were done with Root, but...
As a former employee of NBC Sports Northwest, can I say maybe this wasn't necessarily the slowest one?
Yeah, that is true. We all knew that was going to be gone.
Yeah.
But this is big news, though, because we knew when NBC Sports was in Comcast Sportsnet, when that train was coming into the station, that you were just going to switch platforms and you were going somewhere else, right? There is an unknown right now of where the Blazers will go, how we will be able to take in their games, and what that will look like from a distribution standpoint. So now we got to go to start looking at that and which route do they go? Because there are teams across the NBA that have already gone outside the box, and they have done this. And we've talked about this ad nauseum. The Blazers are in a unique position to do this on their own.
Yes, and I mentioned this in the article, but I did not mention it yesterday during the show. The reason why you saw the Kraken do this in April and not the Blazers is because the Kraken had to go immediately because they don't have their own broadcast team.
Yeah.
They had to cut ties and get rolling on building out a studio, getting talent, hiring all of the behind the scenes people, because if you're going to do this, you need to have your own setup. Blazers broadcast has been in existence for 30 years.
Yeah, and it started with old school Blazer Vision pay-per-view back in the day. It has been internal, and an internal operation where they own the cameras, they have a production studio, they have a production team. And what most teams in the NBA or any sport, in any sport do, is they contract out to a network, and the network provides all of those pieces. The Blazers are different. This is also why Oregon State and Washington State do have appeal in conference realignment, is because
millions of dollars worth of this stuff.
The Pac-12 network, the one thing that was good about having the Pac-12 network is that there were broadcast operations that were set up at almost every single school in the conference, and they do have the ability to put those broadcasts out and do it in relatively short order. It was one thing that, was attractive about the LA schools and Oregon for the Big Ten move. The University of Washington did have to upgrade significantly their broadcast operation. But it is something that is actually a card in the back pocket for Oregon State and Washington State. And it's
a tangible
actually
asset.
Very useful for the Portland Trail Blazers in this regard. They can now go to, instead of just saying we need to saddle up to one network and be besties with them, you can kind of go and do your own thing, whether it's a hybrid model of you do some pay-per-view and some over-the-air broadcasts, or, you do your own just pay-per-view thing like the Jazz have essentially done.
So, as I understand it right now, and in the press release from the Blazers yesterday, they have a big announcement coming. I'll tell you, the big announcement is that they're going over the air. That's coming. I'm not spoiling anything there. That's coming. The hope is that would be done now. But they have multiple partners that are interested.
Yeah.
And there are unique challenges and opportunities that come with both partners.
And for those that don't know, over the air would be, we'll just go through them in order of the numbers that the stations are. Yeah. Okay. You have K2 Channel 2, Coin Channel 6, KGW Channel 8, Fox 12. Those are your major broadcast players.
Those are your over-the-air providers, and you can throw
the CW, which is an offshoot of Coin.
Yes.
But they will want them on 2, 6, 8, or 12.
Yes.
Those are their most powerful signals and widely distributed.
And you are seeing this already in Arizona. They have that, and also the New Orleans Pelicans last week are also doing it. But because there are multiple partners involved, you have you have owners of those stations. Like I think everybody associates like Fox News. It's like that's Murdoch. It's like no, that's actually Sinclair or
No,
Gray.
No, KATU is Sinclair.
Yeah, no, it's Gray.
KTU is Sinclair.
Gray. I always get them mixed up.
Yeah.
With
Nexstar is Coin.
Coin.
Yes.
Like this is the whole
Tegna
Deion
is
Sanders.
KGW,
The whole
yes.
Deion Sanders getting mad at a local CBS
And
reporter.
a CBS Denver guy.
He doesn't work at CBS.
No.
He
And
works
they probably
for.
don't even own the station.
He
No.
works for Nexstar or Sinclair
Exactly.
or Gray
Yes.
or one of the
So-
distributors. Just like 1080 The Fan, we play ESPN programming. We're an Odyssey station.
Yes.
Odyssey is our boss, not ESPN. So,
So
there you go.
that's how that stuff kind of works. Again, we're getting a little behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Also
inside
known
baseball.
as Dion is a dummy.
But
Yes.
but also that is good to know based on distribution statewide.
Yes, and so you kind of get an understanding of how that looks. And in talking to the stakeholders with the Blazers, the thing that they have told me for the last 6 months, and people can believe this or not, I'm just telling you, this is not them telling me to tell you this. This is in earnest conversations. They hated not having a fan base that they could get to.
Yeah, widely available.
Yeah, and the goal of this deal is to get it to as many people as possible. Like part of like wanting to tell people about leaving Root was like they wanted to energize the fan base. Like, look, guys, we're trying to do something here to make things better for you. We understand that things were not optimal last year.
Yep.
And this is the over the air is part of it. The other part of this is streaming. They want to and will have a streaming option. The thing is it's unclear exactly which way they will go depending on the partner. Because one partner may have it built in already and maybe you utilize that. Maybe one partner wants you to use your own standalone. Maybe one partner wants the league to be involved. Maybe one partner is on a streaming service so you can kind of co-op. Like there's just, when I say challenges and opportunities, these are all the considerations you have to consider when you're making this decision going forward.
Yeah.
But bottom line is, from the Blazers, from the literal very top of the organization, what I have been told is they want to deliver the best experience they can. They want to get it to as many people as simply and easily as they can. I've seen the numbers.
What a wild concept that is.
And this is something, for those people that don't know, this is something the Blazers wanted to do in 2018.
Yeah.
The NBA would not let them do it, which is why they signed back-to-back short deals with Comcast and Root. They signed the shortest possible deals imaginable when you're talking about like network deals. So I've been hinting at and teasing this for months, and I genuinely think this is like the biggest and best news for Blazers fans this year.
Okay. How does this look for people that live in Portland and then those that do not live in Portland and still want to watch the Blazers? We'll get to that coming up next. Basketball coverage on the Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile and you can save. Get tons of benefits and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Use their savings calculator to find out how at T-Mobile.com/switch. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Or
All right, Blazers say deuces, Root. We out. What does this look
Indeed.
like now? It'll go over the air, which means it'll be on television for us here in Portland. But whether it's on channel 2, 6, 8, 12, that's still TBD, and we'll get a resolution on that very quickly. You don't say that you're leaving Root unless you have a clear path.
I would say they're very close. They're very close to having the deal done.
It's just which channel.
Yeah, it's which provider they're going to go with.
But what does that look like for people in Bend, Eugene, Hermiston, Medford, or the people outside of the state of Oregon?
Yes.
Because the distribution will happen within the state. Like, it may be, like, say they go, just for the sake of this, say they go to, K2, which is ABC, right?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean they're going to be on every ABC station in the state of Oregon. They will find a partner network in the other cities around the state.
If for whatever reason, because not every station is on in every city in the state,
right?
And so you have to kind of work through some of those things. The other thing about this is I've heard a lot of people have asked me since yesterday. A lot of fans have asked, I'm out of market. Like, will I still have to get league pass? I don't know. In that it depends on what you kind of like out of market. Is Seattle out of market? Yeah, that's out of market. Now, is Boise, is Klamath Falls, like those are the things that they're going to have to kind of work through, because like if they go like a direct to consumer, a DTC streaming plan, which is something I very strongly believe they want to do.
Which is what the Utah Jazz did. And remember their package with Jazz Plus was you buy the service, and I think
$125.
Yeah, we did the math. It was like $1.15 per game,
yes.
And you got 2 tickets to a game, a hat, a T-shirt, and
some hot dogs,
a hot dog and a soda too.
And I want to say though too, Boise might be a Jazz market.
Well, they share.
Just judging off of my wife's grandfather's viewing habits and what they got on their TV.
Yeah, it's one of the many diced up cities. But my point being, as far as like range, they're going to have to figure out with their broadcast partner, because again, this is getting very inside baseball. But remember, this TV channel, over the air that they're negotiating with, is a partner. And the reason they want this and they're going to pay for it is because it's going to bring eyeballs to their stations, right? Well, what cuts into that? Streaming. So how far out that streaming can actually go?
Yeah, the geofencing and all that.
Yes,
kind of
is
stuff.
something they have to work through and negotiate. And as I understand it, like I believe it'll be pretty substantial considering the map of Oregon, because there are regions in the state that won't have access to a given channel depending on where they're at, like Gold Beach or Bend or Klamath Falls. And that doesn't necessarily mean that ABC, NBC, Fox, CBS, any of those aren't there. The problem is we're going kind of back in time technologically with an over-the-air broadcast. And what you run into with over-the-air broadcasts is our traditional barriers to broadcast, which are topography.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're on the backside of a mountain, say in Bend, it's difficult to get over-the-air stations.
Yeah. And you're shooting a satellite to whatever, like the hub in Bend, and they distribute it from there. But sometimes it's
a very real problem. And so
you got to get the tinfoil out and make the human antenna.
Which is why
what? Yeah, we don't do that anymore. Digital antennas now.
There you go. But that's why they'd want to have a direct-to-consumer streaming option that has a kind of robust reach. Now, just how far that goes, it's going to be up for debate, I think. So we won't know that stuff. Even in discussions that I've had, even in depth, you can't get too far without talking through that stuff directly with the partners.
No, they're already down that road, and that's why we are seeing the announcement came yesterday, and the resolution is going to come very quickly. So good stuff. We finally will be able to watch our Blazers with an affordable price tag on it.
Easily.
Which locally will be free. How about that?
And also, another thing to consider is that the Blazers will have a local partner that has vested interest in the product going forward.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. You're not going to get second fiddle and be on Root Plus.
Yeah.
because of a Kraken game.
Yeah, you know what? Like they'll be on like Coin or something, and the Big Brother finale will be on there. Be like, we're gonna put you on the CW tonight.
I mean, but also you're probably not going to get broadcast in.
Well, no, what's going to
anymore.
happen is all the Big Brother fans are going to be like, "Why am I being forced to watch the Trailblazers?"
Well, you're gonna watch someone lose.
Hey-o.
All right,
But hey, no more 720.
no more 720.
Picture.
Oh, 7. I was like, no more 720. I was like, what is 720?
What radio station is that?
Like they carry the one. Oh no, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's part way.
We'd be
between.
like 1080p,
Ding, ding, ding.
1080i,
So, and I won't.
4K.
I bet you the streaming options will be pretty nice.
All right. Well, Blazer talk. See, we talk about the Blazers in the summer when there's something to talk about with the Blazers in the summer.
Forcibly talking about it.
Yeah, that's right. Let's talk about the NFL because there's some big news, and one team got a heck of a lot better. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Hey,
Hour number 2, Danny and Dusty with you on this Thursday afternoon. The big signal is out. The 1080 AM signal is out, so tell your friends. We're still partying on the Odyssey app, 99.5 HD2, youtube.com/1080am The Fan, twitch.tv/1080am The Fan. We got it all going.
Except for the terrestrial.
Except for 1080 AM.
Want to think 1080thefan.com as well, right?
Yeah.
The old website.
Use your web browser.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're streaming on Cam Soda and OnlyFans. Brazzers. He's got a feed up. Well,
Yep. Wait.
Now free.
No, none of those.
Wait.
None of those are.
Are we on the fake taxi?
None of those. What's that?
No, I don't know.
Oh.
All I know is that
Seems
you don't need to pay
suspicious.
for them anymore.
Seems suspicious over there. All right. Hey, we start hour number 2 with a little NFL news and notes. The New England Patriots could not come to an agreement with all-pro pass rusher Matthew Judon, so
they got worse.
he gone. They traded him to the Atlanta Falcons yesterday. And now the Atlanta Falcons, their biggest question marks heading into this season it was not a matter of weapons. It was not a matter of quarterback anymore. It wasn't the offense, because addition by subtraction, Arthur Smith being the play caller and the head coach was not a good marriage in Atlanta.
No, problematic.
You upgrade your quarterback room with Kirk Cousins. You have Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod, Kyle Pitts. Your offensive line has still got a plethora of first-round picks on it. Will their defense under Raheem Morris continue to grow, develop, and become more stable? What do you need to do that? You need an elite pass rusher, and by golly, they got an elite pass rusher in Matthew Judon. And then they went the Billy Mays, but wait, there's more. They Ron Popeil'd this thing.
Rest in peace.
You're not going to set it and forget it. No, they went out and they got Justin Simmons, too. They're bolstering their defense.
Was that some spray on hair?
Yeah.
Pretty decent additions going and getting 2 Pro Bowlers.
In this, I think that now you have this conversation of, from a roster standpoint, the Atlanta Falcons have the best roster in the NFC South.
Yeah.
Now you need to say, how competitive are they going to be in the NFC as a contender in the NFC? They still are having to make up ground on the likes of San Francisco, Detroit. That's a bizarre thing to say. The Green Bay Packers.
The Falcons and the Lions are good.
Yeah. It's weirder to say Lions and Falcons because at least the Falcons have been good in recent memory. But with that division, too, you have the ability to go through some growing pains even. And because Carolina Panthers are going to be god-awful.
They're the worst team in football.
New Orleans Saints they're not god-awful, but if you were to say, what do you think? Describe to me the most mediocre team in the NFL this year. I would say the beacon of mediocrity would be what the New Orleans Saints are, which is they've got a quarterback that can win you games in Derek Carr. You have pieces that seem like they are really good in Alvin Kamara, who's getting older, Chris Olave, who can be a game-breaking wide receiver. You've got Cameron Jordan, who's a little bit longer in the tooth now. You have these pieces on defense like Tyrann Mathieu and Marshawn Lattimore where you're going, man, those guys used to be really damn good.
Name recognition is strong.
But you're going, that ain't it now. These are not the horses that pull you through a season. They are like mediocre through and through. Dennis Allen is your head coach, for God's sakes. You know about that. You know about that, buddy. With the Raiders. I do like Talise Fuaga, though.
No, and he's the news out of camp for them is that they nailed that pick.
They knocked it out of the park with the Oregon State offensive lineman.
But I I have wanted to buy into the Falcons. We've talked about it in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just can't because the quarterback. I can't. Like, I'm a big Kyle Pitts guy. I'm a big Drake London guy. I'm a big Bijan guy. Like, offensively, if Kirk is just normal Kirk,
Yeah.
they're going to be good offensively. And now defensively, they already had some weapons, and now you're adding two premier, not even like, hey, there's some name recognition. No, you have one of the better safeties in football and one of the best power rushers in football. Those aren't small ads.
No.
You know, like, those are big time ads. You've got decent corners in Bates and Terrell. Like, I don't see how they don't win this division now.
Yeah, I think they do it easily. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are also one of those teams that last year, division winner, Baker Mayfield took enormous strides in consistency. We knew that Baker had those flashes in him, but how does he react now that his offensive coordinator from a year ago and Dave Canales is in Carolina as the head coach? You know, they have a little bit of turnover. It does look like things run through Atlanta, and look, Tampa and New Orleans are going to be teams that they can beat you, right? But this is not a gauntlet of a division. It's not the NFC North or South, for God's sakes, or NFC North. Got it right the first time. Where you have the Lions, Bears, Packers, and Vikings. Because the Bears seemingly have it together. The world needs ditch diggers too, right? Somebody will be the ditch digger in that division.
And they might be over 500.
But if you look at which team is the easiest path, or which division, it's still the NFC South.
Oh, it's not
and
close.
then the second one is the NFC East, where they have the Philadelphia Eagles that apparently Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni hate each other.
Yeah. I mean,
that's not big.
That division is nitroglycerin. Like, if you shake it too hard, it's going to explode, and you don't know what's going to come out of it.
The Cowboys, Giants, Commanders, and Eagles all have got fatal flaws left and right.
I know this sounds insane. I'm prefacing this with knowing fully well this sounds insane.
Okay.
If I said that Sirianni Hurts just go at each other and it becomes a massive problem that divides the team, Eagles fall on their face. Dak's foot is continually a problem throughout the year. Danny Dimes continues to suck tremendously. And all of a sudden the Commanders eke out a 9-8 season. Would that shock you winning? Would that be the most, would that be the craziest thing ever? 'Cause I don't think it is.
No, it's not the craziest thing. I think 10-7 wins that division.
You know what I mean? Like, if all of a sudden, like, a game or two over 500 wins that division, and let's say Jaden Daniels has the CJ Stroud year.
When we did our whole worst to first, and I had the Giants third as the third best team to go from worst to first. It's not like I have this confidence that Daniel Jones is going to get it together. It's not that I have this confidence that Malik Neighbors is the guy that can just bolster a receiving core and drag him to the mountaintop. Yeah. No, it's that it is a division that is in such flux right now. You just don't know. Like, the Commanders and the Giants could be sitting there at the end of the day going, how do we get here?
Yeah.
It's
full Paul Rudd.
Truly bizarre. And look, the biggest thing with the Eagles for me is that if there are these tensions with Hurts and Sirianni, it is the losses of Fletcher Cox and Jason Kelce as galvanizing pieces of a locker room. Your two most stable, sturdy leaders for such a long time, over a decade, are now gone. And I think that is going to play a very big factor if they do have issues with Sirianni, Hurts, in a power struggle in that locker room. I still do believe the Eagles are the class of that division. I do believe that the Dallas Cowboys, if they can get their pieces in working order and in the right mind frame, those are the two top teams in that division.
I feel like it's a big if for the Cowboys.
But to what you were saying, though, I wouldn't be surprised. We could see both of them go completely sideways this season and have a complete turnover in how that division results this year as opposed to last year. But the Atlanta Falcons got better.
Yes.
They undoubtedly got better.
And they did it by trading. You just traded a third-round pick for Matthew Judon and Justin Simmons.
And everybody was saying, when they drafted Michael Penix Jr., we need a pass rusher. We had the opportunity to get the best pass rusher in the draft this year. Well, turns out they got really good value for one of the best pass rushers, not in the draft, But in the NFL, and Matthew
if you're
Judon.
asking me, do I want Dallas Turner or Matthew Judon? It's not even close.
And you're going to have to pay him. You're going to have to pay him and hope you don't get into this Hassan Reddick situation. But
yeah. Like, look, do I think Turner can be good? Sure. I never saw him and was like, yes, he's Javon Curse 2.0. You know what I mean? He might end up being a really solid pass rusher. I would rather go down the Judon path.
Yeah.
Especially if you're the Falcons.
All right. Big news though. That's a monster trade. And then I think what you're saying about Justin Simmons too. You said right before we got back from the break, you said he is signed with the Falcons now. That's a big win.
Yeah.
For the Atlanta
Falcons.
And
they just signed him using cap space. It's a 1 year, $8 million deal. So they traded a 3rd round pick and got Matthew Judon and Justin Simmons.
All righty.
That's about as good a business as you can get done.
Concrete jungle, wet dream tomato.
All right, let's go to staying in the NFC. There is a holdout in the NFL that is not getting much attention, but one of the best players in the entire league said, we should probably look at this as a bigger deal. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. (503-864-6326). That is the Vancouver Ford text line. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit them online at vancouverford.com. There is a big holdout that is not getting as much attention as another guy on his own team is getting. We've heard a lot about Tassan Reddick. We heard about Matthew Judon prior to his trade from New England to Atlanta. We have heard about the holdout of Brandon Ayuk with the San Francisco 49ers. But there is actually another holdout on the 49ers that is going to have far greater implications to the success of the 49ers this season. And that is the best offensive tackle in the National Football League, Trent Williams. And yesterday, George Kittle, the all-pro tight end for the 49ers, was meeting with the assembled media. And I'm going to just assume that the woman who asked the question's name was Jennifer, because this was George Kittle on the impact of Trent Williams.
Yes, Jennifer?
You brought up Trent Williams.
Yes, I did.
Same thing.
I'm trying, Jennifer.
With BA not being out there, is it like you don't miss him because it hasn't been week 1 yet?
Trent Williams is Trent Williams. You know, he's like the greatest football player to ever play the game. It's like him and Aaron Donald. I mean, that I've played against. And, you know, for all the people who are going to, you know, list off like, you know, 90s and 80s players, I'm sorry. But like the best I've ever played with. And so, yes, he's also like a massive human being. He's a silverback. Like he just has a presence to him. And so, yeah, not having him in the locker room at all and stuff like that, it's weird. But, you know, no one, like, we all love Trent and he's doing what he thinks is best for him. So it's okay. And I think Jalen Moore's done a good job of playing left tackle for us. And also, like, I appreciate getting extra reps, because the one thing about Trent Williams is I don't need to practice with Trent that often because he's so good that it's more of me like, hey, George, get out of the way so I can block this guy by myself. And I'm like, hey, man, you make my job easier. So getting the extra reps with Jalen, I think, is really beneficial because he's gotten a lot of snaps for us in the last couple of years. And so if I can get really good at working with him, Trent will just fit in seamlessly. Not worried about it.
Think about that. George Kittle talking about his teammate, the best player in the history of the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, Trent Williams has been called that by people outside of his locker room.
He may be one of the best left tackles to ever play the game. And we talk about so often the weapons of the San Francisco 49ers, and we overlook the fact that they do. And I try to make it a point every time we talk about San Francisco's offense saying, in Trent Williams, right? Like the success of Brock Purdy and what he has been able to do as Mr. Irrelevant in his first few years in the NFL.
Because there's literally nobody hitting him from his blind side.
He has no worry. No worry. And you have Kittle, who's one of the best blocking tight ends in the league.
There too.
And what you have is the best left tackle saying, dude, get out of my way. Just let me do my thing. You actually make my job harder. When every other tackle in the NFL is like, if I have one of the best blocking tight ends, that is so useful in such a need that you can just, how many times do we see Kittle lined up on the right side?
Yeah.
You motion him over to the right side so he can get his help and give his help there, because you
don't
literally have not had to worry about the left side of your offensive line with Trent Williams. That is a bigger missing component for the 49ers' long-term success than Brandon Ayuk will ever be.
Oh, 100%. The other part of this is, I think the reason why you're not hearing anybody talk about it and why it's quiet, because Trent Williams will kill you. That's why.
And this is a situation where it's not a completely new contract that you're starting from scratch. He wants more guaranteed money, and he wants his guarantees. Also, like Kittle said, the sense of urgency to get that deal done is not as profound as Brandon Ayuk, because you can, with a veteran like Trent Williams, they're not running him ragged in training camp and in the preseason. No. You can just sit there and say, we'll get your ramp up in and we'll get you on the field for week 1. That's when we will need you. Hell, you could even be, we'll miss week 1, but we want you for the stretch of the season, because our long-term success at the end of the year, it hinges on Trent Williams being that anchor. And you can't really move around all of his money until you resolve the Ayuk situation.
This is a bit of a detour, and I'll bring it back, I swear.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you see the Cowboys and Rams practice where the Cowboys defensive tackle on a pass rush got clear and just like a Rams assistant coach was like something nearby and he threw him to the ground.
Yeah, I saw that, and that dude got
They ran him out of practice.
Yeah, he got run from practice, and they said, "Get your butt out of here, bro."
I think of that because it made me think of Trent Williams. Literally, when I saw the clip, I was like, you know who wouldn't do that, or you know who would stop you from doing that? Trent Williams.
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed in the Rams' offensive line, to be honest, for not pummeling the dude immediately.
Yeah, that was the most Cowboys thing.
Yeah, I mean, like
I would have like a Raider. It would have fit a Raider more than a Cowboy. But if I'm power ranking, I'm going Raiders then Cowboys. On which team would you would say? Yeah, they're going to do that.
But also Raiders, like that's part of their DNA.
That is who they are.
That's like I accept that they're going to be dirtbags, right? Now there's a sliding scale of dirtbag, like Ruggs. We don't go that far.
No.
Romanowski, you're literally the line. You are literally the line of the line.
Oh. I think he even crossed that line.
I mean,
man.
he's a habitual line stepper.
I
but
think
like
he crossed that line.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what I mean. Like that's you talking about a team that you had a cornerback who used to put rebar in his arm pads.
Yep.
So the line's pretty far. But I watching that clip, the second I watched it, I went, number one, disappointed in the Rams offensive line. Number two, if this is the 49ers, this play does not happen. Because if Trent Williams is on the field, you just don't dare do that.
No.
You know what I mean?
He's
like
a scary person.
Have you seen the clip of him walking with Kittle?
No.
It's terrifying. Because George Kittle's like 6'4", 255 pounds. Big dude. And then he looks like a child next to him.
How big is Trent Williams there?
I think he's 6'7",
6'7",
6'8", but he's like 360.
Huh.
He's and whatever they have him listed at on his weight, it's nowhere near what it actually is.
They only have him listed at 6'5".
No.
You're not gonna believe that.
No,
You're
not
not
one
believing
bit.
it. You're not believing it.
Not one bit.
You're calling shenanigans.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
6'5", 320.
No. Absolutely. There is a picture of George Kittle who is 6'4", walking alongside Trent Williams, and Trent is 3 or 4 inches taller.
Yeah.
It's not close.
At the combine, he measured 76.63 inches.
Barefoot?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is that?
6'5".
Yeah. So 6'5" barefoot.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. What did George Kittle?
He's 6'4".
Well, I know, but I want to go George Kittle combine measurements. Let's see here. George Kittle, 6'4" barefoot. So he was only 1 inch. He's only 1 inch.
And you can talk about
shorter.
One being closer to the camera than the other.
Yeah.
They're like walking side by side.
Walking side by side, huh?
The difference in size is dramatic.
Yeah. Maybe Kittle just walks small.
Slouched.
He doesn't walk tall like the great Trent Williams does. I thought that was a fascinating clip from Kittle, though, because we are not talking nearly enough about the impact that Trent Williams will have on the 49ers, and he is a holdout that is still happening. But again, I want to preface this by saying Trent Williams is a move. I want my guaranteed money. I want more guaranteed money. I don't want a brand new deal like Brandon Ayuk is asking.
He's asking for the money that's on the back of his deal to be guaranteed because he's 37.
Yeah, but what they all need to have happen because of that is Brandon Ayuk's contract and whatever they bring in if they decide to trade him. You need to have a resolution to that before you can do the Trent Williams deal. It's not nearly as contentious as the Brandon Ayuk situation is by the reports that are out there, but he wants his money. And I think that Kittle also gave us a little nugget in that audio clip too of saying, like he's trying to get his money, and players don't care. No. Players don't care about a holdout like that. They don't care.
No.
They're like, hey, I understand it. I'm not going to talk about you or your money, and you don't talk about me or my money.
Mm-hmm.
I get what you're trying to do. I know that the business side of this because, look,
it's also Trent Williams. They know that
they'll cut your ass as quick as they can, so get your money while you can. You never talk about another man's money in the NFL.
No pocket watching. But also, it's different when it's Trent Williams because, as Kittle said, it's the best player he's ever seen. So when the best player on the planet's saying, I want my money,
It's pretty good.
you know what George Kittle's going to say? Hey, guys, pay the man.
Pay the man. Pays the man his money.
Yeah. And so I want my $2, except it's 20 million. I want my $20 million.
Pay that man his money.
Yes.
That's right.
All right, coming up next, the worst day on the web. You want to hear the most millionaire-S you've ever heard in your entire life?
Ooh, yes.
Boy, do I've got that for you. But first, it's the Big Kahuna Sports Center update.
I hear they got some tasty burgers.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust here with your Sports Center update. First on the Fan, the Mariners and Tigers, they wrapped up their 3-game set this morning. Seattle now 3 games behind Houston in the AL West after getting swept in Detroit. 2-1 is your final. Javier Baez with a 2-run shot for the Tigers in the bottom of the 8th, ruining Bryce Miller's gem. 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 9 strikeouts with 0 walks. Seattle now headed to Pittsburgh, where they will face Paul Skeens in the first game of the series tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Astros start a 3-game set at the MLB worst, White Sox. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting Bills linebacker Matt Milano suffered a torn biceps and is out indefinitely. He'll have surgery, and the hope is he'll be available in December. Round 1 of the FedEx St. Jude Championship at TPC Southwind in Memphis. Chris Kirk at the top of the leaderboard. He shot a 6 under 64, partially in thanks to an ace on 14. He is 1 stroke clear of Taylor Pendrith and Mathieu Pavon, tied for 4th. Among those, Justin Rose, Tommy Fleetwood, Scotty Scheffler there at 4 under par. Seamus Power tied for 10th at 3 under. Wyndham Clark, Rory McIlroy, Colin Morikawa, and Jordan Spieth are all tied for 16th at 2 under par. And the Portland Pickles hosting the West Coast League Championship for the first time ever. First pitch at Walker Stadium tomorrow night, 7:05 against the Wenatchee Apple Sox. Winner takes all. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Do it every morning. Dirt and Spray. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. It's time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Oh, really? That sucks.
I came across this the other day before the porn sub rudely interrupted our the planned worst day on the web. And
for those that weren't listening, that was a submarine captain who got fired for making
porn on a submarine
and then distributing it to people who didn't want to see that film.
Not to mention putting his little sub in other.
No, that was another
pockets.
guy. That was another guy.
Oh, that was a different one.
That was a different one. And even after that happened, he still was like, you know what you guys are going to want to see? This.
So this story might be, in a sense, be more out of bounds in the sense of of what transpired and it being the most millionaire or billionaire thing you've ever heard in your life.
All right. What do we got?
Brewers billionaire owner Mark Ananasio he's got a beachfront property on Malibu. He had a seawall on his property that kind of fell away. So what he did was he decided to hire an excavator crew to repair it by stealing, air quotes, sand from the beach.
Okay, so he went from his private beach and said, you know what I'm going to do? Go to the public beach, and I'm just going to steal all this sand and make my own?
Yeah.
That's what he did?
Yeah,
that feels like a lot of buckets.
This is the most billionaire. This is not a millionaire thing to do.
This is how rich people stay rich.
This is a billionaire thing.
So instead of like spending money on sand, like going to the rock or sand decorative rock place where you can get all that kind of stuff.
Or like permitting it. And,
they did permit it.
They permitted
it? Oh, yeah, no, they did that part of it. But to get the sand and the...
I'm assuming permitted it for his property, like the work on his property.
Yeah, but permit the excavation of sand from a public beach.
Yes.
Like, because nobody was like, where are you going to get this sand from? And he's like, Dubai? Like, what was his answer to...
That's the money. That's where they get the money for their sports now. But yeah, so what's funny about this whole thing is, number one, billionaire thinking that it's his anyways. So he's running excavator equipment up and down the beach, and the claim, it reads as bad as it could because that's what you want it to do. But it's like the complaints of leaving petroleum products from the anytime you do anything up and down the beach, when you drive your 4x4 up and down the street, you're leaving petroleum products behind. No, I'm not siding with the owner here. I'm just saying, can we stop with the litigious nature of stupidity that we get into?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with this one, that billionaire Brewers owner, who I'm assuming isn't a full-time resident of his Malibu, California home.
Not.
He took this sand from in front of a home of what I'm assuming
other billionaires
is another billionaire or another millionaire, because I've checked out the real estate prices from time to time. Do you ever like to just go on Zillow?
Yes.
And just be just I don't know, it's like home voyeuring.
Well, first off, you don't really need to go and check the real estate prices in Malibu. All you need to do is look at Malibu.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
So the neighbor who he pissed off is worth $10 billion.
Yeah, this is another billionaire. Yes. So he's like, you know who's not going to care? My billionaire neighbor. And you know what that other billionaire neighbor did? He cared a lot.
He cared a lot.
He cared a lot. You know why? It's his sand.
No, because he didn't think of it first.
People don't forget.
That's the thing here.
When this goes to court, my favorite part is like the sandbar that washed away. Didn't wash away. It was from the neighbor who took it
from him
and made his beach. I wouldn't put it past.
Can't triple stamp a double stamp. Can't triple stamp a double stamp.
Either of them.
Yeah, and that's the part of this. It's very funny. What is it? Jerome Kohlberg, or James Kohlberg, who's the son of Jerome Kohlberg. It's a big investment guru, right? Claims he's been using excavators on public natural resources and restricting public access to the beach, while also exposing local marine life to potentially hazardous byproducts of heavy machinery.
Don't act like you care about the environment now, pal.
Yeah, the guy that has the $20
Probably got a
million
private
house.
jet.
He's like, I care about the environment so much, I fly my PJ for my dog to visit my ex-wife in Philadelphia.
I can only
every
imagine
week.
if I tried to go out to the end of the road in Manzanita with an excavator trying to steal sand from there. Like, people don't notice this like the first time you try to do it in a few minutes.
Yeah, I think it happens. Quite often.
Well, what happened was they did it once, and he was like, "That's a good idea." Second time, he was like, "That's a really good idea. I should have done that." Yeah. Third time, they're like, "God dang it, he's going to take all the good sand before we can."
Can't have this happen.
No,
can't have this.
This is truly, it was like full Scrooge McDuck.
This isn't even first world problems. This is like 0.1 of the 1%.
Yeah.
You mentioned the guy's name like I should know who it is. You know what's terrifying is how many billionaires we know nothing about.
Oh God, yeah.
Like that is the life right there.
Well,
like,
those are the smart ones that
everybody's
stay
like,
out of the public eye.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what? I'm just going to be rich and quietly enjoy it.
Everybody's
How
like, you
many
know what?
billionaires do
I
you
want to
think there
be Bill Gates or Elon Musk. And I'm like, no, I want to be the guy that has like $15 billion and nobody knows who the hell he is.
I want to be like McAfee, not Pat, the crazy one.
the guy that was humping whales.
Well, no, not that. But I mean, like,
Or, what,
I
was
mean,
the
he
one
did
that was
do that.
No, no, I
hiding
mean-
out in Belize.
Yeah.
yes, hanging
That
out
we
in
all
Belize,
thought like we thought he was dead for a while or something.
Wait, isn't he like super creepy?
yeah, I don't want that. I'm talking about like being
I'm just saying,
nowhere.
like he's just this side of Epstein,
Danny,
isn't he?
that is the most on-brand thing you
No.
could have said. Like, you know what? I want to be the guy that he's got some big-time skeletons and a
Yeah.
lot of warrants out.
yeah, no. I want to be hanging out in Belize,
I love
just
you with
acting weird.
The McAfee guy. Yeah, he is.
Well, not the
Super weird.
creepy. I want to be
No.
like eccentric.
Like the only other guy that would have made more sense for you is I want to be the Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Like I want to have
I
my
wanna have-
evil lair.
Yeah, I want to have my own evil island with a volcano. How many billionaires do you think there are in the world right now?
In the world?
Yes, I have the number from April of 2024.
150.
Okay. No. I am going. I think I've read something like there is like 400 billionaires in America.
Oh.
I think worldwide, I think that we're going with. I will say 900 billionaires worldwide.
2,781.
Dang.
Over $200 billion.
That's what I was going to say next.
During the pandemic, there was almost 3,200, and a big part of that was just people who conveniently placed bets in the stock market.
Oh, yeah. Well,
The guy that tried to buy the WNBA team here.
how many are in Congress?
Most. Most, in fact.
I was way off.
But yeah,
wow.
you have
2,000 billionaires. That's a lot of money, guys.
It's a lot of money. The
It's a
Bernard
few trillion.
Bernard Arnault is
It's at
actually
least a couple trillion.
the richest person in the world right now.
Bernard Arnault?
Yep, the empire of 75 fashion and cosmetic brands, including Louis Vuitton and Sephora. They are worth. It's the Arnault and family.
Wait, he's worth more than
Elon, yeah, or Bezos, or Zuck, or Ellison. In fact, how much do you think he's worth? Because this will shock you.
9 times.
nine times. I'm going to say $250 billion.
You're close.
Over $200 billion.
So that's how much he's worth. Is that who Biden was talking about? What's his name? Bernard Arnault?
Oh no, yeah, 'cause
Oh,
he's French.
Can't buy a gold medal in basketball, can you, Bernard?
Now with the was the dividend, or they split something on Tesla. Elon has passed that, but I think it's still kind of up for debate because of the liquidity of what he has. But he's worth roughly $240 billion. So it depends on how you slice that. But yeah, those two, and then
I want to be the guy that nobody knows about. I want to be the guy that nobody knows about. Like you're just like, hey, that guy looks rich.
I
It's
wonder
like,
who the richest in the world are that you wouldn't know. So
give me the list of billionaires.
So
see, I want to be the guy who's on this list, but his name isn't on there. You don't even know.
No, you no,
because I'm an arms dealer. Wait, what?
No, your money's just too high. Like you can't get that high and not be known because you got Musk, Bezos, Arnault. Like those are your three. Zuck, Bill Gates, still there.
Still
Larry Ellison at Oracle.
Know him.
Larry Page, who is the CEO of Google. 150 billion.
All right.
Ballmer, 150 billion. Sergey Brin, co-founder and board member of Google.
Yep.
And then Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett. Yep. Know him.
Weird how there's a bunch of tech guys up there, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let me scroll down and see.
Who's worth $50 billion?
50.
Give me somebody in that 50 billion range.
Okay, so this is where it actually, outside of the U.S., it gets interesting. You've got 51 billion. Colin Huang from PDD Holdings, Chongpeng Zhao from Binance at $58 billion.
Binance. That doesn't sound like a nefarious company at all.
Projago Pangestu from Burrito Pacific.
Burrito Pacific?
BAR.
Oh.
$64 billion.
I was about to get really excited.
Let's see. Alice Walton is Walmart. Rob Walton, Jim Walton, those are all the Walmarts. Bloomberg, Nvidia. Yeah, it's like $40 billion. I think is like $50 billion.
Yeah, wait. I thought the Nvidia guy was the richest man in the world.
He
for
did
a time.
get up there, but Nvidia took a big
hit.
and then they also split their stock like
okay.
a month ago.
All right.
But yeah, then you start getting like the international. How much do you think the Red Bull guy's worth?
Well, it gives him wings, so I'm gonna say 52 bill. 40 billion. See, that's who I want to be at. I want to be the Red Bull guy.
Mark Mateschitz.
I would
Am
pay
I
to
supposed
change
to
my
hit the
name.
dumb button on that?
I would pay to change my name. No, it's a name. Like, do you know that like there's when they did Meet the Parents and then they did the Meet the Fockers movie, they had to prove that there was a family that actually had that name, or it would have had to been a rated R movie because it was PG-13. They had to, and so for any publication of it, like you wouldn't be able to put the movie title on like a marquee or advertise it if there wasn't. And I believe it was a family in Canada. I think they had to like find a Canadian family with that last
it's worse.
name.
There's one with a U.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's also in Canada. No.
Please tell me one of those Fockers was named gay.
Yeah, I don't know. But that, I remember that when they came out with the movie, I saw an interview with Ben Stiller, and he had to like give the whole rundown of like, yeah, it was quite the process.
Yeah, there's one with a U with and without an umlaut.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like Motley Crue.
Or it's like the pho place in Beaverton.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's got that one word in the front. And
yeah,
then,
we know.
And then King Good.
We know what you're going with.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I want to be. Red Bull guy. Red Bull guy is the sweet spot where it's like nobody really knows who you are, but you're like, I'm the Red Bull guy, and they're like, oh, no way.
It's insane.
Did you send that guy to jump from space? He's
Show
like,
me your wings.
I did that. Like, do you like finance all these movies? Yeah, I just say like go do cool stuff. Like do the wingsuit through like the Swiss Alps. Yeah, I do that.
He's actually Dan Bilzerian.
Yeah.
And then I go hang out by my pool.
Now, Dan Bilzerian, I think, is the guy that you actually that's who you want to be.
Yeah.
Not the McAfee guy, but like a guy with a bunch of guns, some like very problematic stuff that they're just like, well, he's crazy, and they just
a lot of fun,
let him
but he's
off with
crazy.
it.
Yeah,
yeah, and you have some real demons.
A lot of international waters,
and every person that you come in contact with has to sign an NDA. Yeah, that's
you're gonna have a good time.
That is the guy you want to be.
You're gonna have a good time.
You don't want to be John McAfee.
Yeah, no.
That was a bad choice by you, but totally on brand.
Let's face it, if Danny ever gets rich enough, he's going to have a yacht, and the name of that yacht is just going to be called NDA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why McAfee jumped in my head is I have this picture of him like in Belize, just like chilling. And I don't know. I forgot about the
that's called On the Run.
Yeah, but I forgot about all the other stuff.
Well, for those rich guys, for most everybody else, it's called vacation.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Bezos is worth $200 billion.
Yeah.
He only has a 10% stake in Amazon now.
Yeah,
That's just how much that is worth.
Yeah. Well, did he have to give a bunch of it to his ex-wife?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. McKinsey.
Yeah.
McKinsey. She's got a pretty sweet jet.
Good work if you can find it.
But at least she does good stuff, so.
Now.
Well, I mean, the great thing, and we don't talk about this nearly enough, like we talked about it briefly, but the fact that Bezos went from like nerdy bookseller online to actually looking like Lex Luthor, for like shaved head, glasses.
I mean, they all did. All of them
wears
did.
like the billionaire outfit is like a vest with like a button-up shirt underneath it.
Yeah,
like they have an outfit.
Or the $6,000 T-shirt that's meant to look like it's $30.
Yeah, that's made of like the tears of children and unicorns.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
That's where all the unicorns went.
Mm-hmm. Those T-shirts.
Well, they probably used all of them up in Buffalo too, because they have no unicorn tears for any of their injuries anymore.
Oh boy.
We'll get to that coming up here on Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
Hello, sports fans.
The Buffalo Bills continue to be snake bitten.
This is brutal for them.
Matt Milano has a torn bicep, which torn pec, torn bicep. I make a million jokes about all the injuries I've had. I have managed to avoid like detrimental upper body injuries.
I'm assuming this table is not actually marble, so I'm gonna knock on this wood.
Yeah.
You know? Cardboard.
But Milano is just snake bitten.
Yeah, this is brutal for the Buffalo Bills in the fact that Matt Milano, an all-pro 2 years ago, last year goes 5 games into the season and breaks his leg. And look, we can say all we want, like, linebacker, it doesn't affect the points, but it affected that defense tremendously. And it's going to affect their defense even more so this year with a torn biceps where he's now targeting December for a return. That's aggressive.
Yeah, that's playing with the TJ Watt brace.
One of and it affects him even more so because of the fact of how good he is in coverage. He is one of the best coverage linebackers in the entire NFL. And when you take into account not just his coverage ability, the losses that this Buffalo defense had, they're replacing both Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde this year. You have new safeties in the back end of your defense, and now you're going to be going into the season without a safety blanket for those guys in that you had one of the guys who covered the best as any linebacker in the league. That's a big hit for them. And this is what sucks for Buffalo fans is they are so close, but so far away still. They have the quarterback. They have the pieces.
The window might
have
passed
the
them
weapons.
by.
It might have because, Poyer, Hyde, Diggs, gone. Right?
And then they don't. What is on that team that's young that is like, okay, there's your transitionary piece. Like there's not a young DB on either side that you're like, that dude is going to be a guy you can build your defense off of. There's not a pass rusher because they've been rolling out the corpse of Von Miller for God knows how long now. There's not a young pass rusher. There's not a young weapon.
Well, Ed Oliver isn't old.
How old is he?
I bet he's like 26, 27.
Okay, he's 26.
Yeah.
He'll be 27
26 years old. You have, Greg Rousseau, who the defensive end out of Miami. He's young-ish. He's 20. I mean, he's 24.
I mean, I like Keon Coleman, but I don't see him as the guy that's going to foundationally change the team.
Yeah. They've done a really good job, though, of just drafting plug-and-play type players, though.
Yeah, I mean, Dalton Kincaid, good player.
Yeah, but that's why you need, especially on that defense side of the ball, you need a Haas. And Milano was that guy. And, I mean, this has been for so long now because remember the legend of Kiko Alonso in the flash that he had that was so quick. And
2.5 years, then gone.
Boom, out.
Yeah.
Like out of the league.
Yeah.
Like he was
injuries just piled up so fast it was done.
Now you're seeing it with Milano too, and that I just feel
it sucks.
I feel for the Bills because I want them to be so good, and they've gotten so damn close, but so far away at the same time. And that's like the history of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. And I mean, you don't leave 17 seconds on the clock.
And this is
they probably win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, legitimately, they probably would have gotten one.
Yep.
And it's just. That window might have been it.
Yeah, and they may be the most cursed franchise in sports now. It's not the Red Sox or the Cubs anymore.
No, you're right. I think in all of sports, because they just never won one.
It's the Buffalo Bills because of just how close they've gotten. You can also throw
Browns.
like the Minnesota Vikings aren't that far off. They're 0-4 in Super Bowls all time.
You know what I smell? Bull.
In the NBA. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody.
Kings.
You think? Yeah, the Sacramento Kings, but they touched.
I'm sorry. In which NBA city do we reside?
I mean,
but we have a championship in Portland in 1977 at least. But
okay, yeah. Look, I was 8 months old.
Yeah,
but still,
and I am old as F.
Yeah, but it's not like there have been like in both of the NBA finals in 90-92 or 89-92 were not it's not like our hearts were ripped out and we didn't have a Scott Norwood moment.
Do we go Clippers? Do we put Clippers in there? Who's let's go this way.
I mean, look,
who's the most cursed franchise in the NBA right now?
But you can also say that even with the Clippers, they weren't like that close.
It's true.
They've never been to the finals.
No, they're not snake bitten. They've just always been bad.
Yeah, and then when
outside of the run with Blake Griffin and CP3 and
stuff,
but
was
the
that's epitome of snake bitten because it would be Blake Griffin, and then you had the rock hard buns of Gerald Henderson breaking the hand of Chris Paul.
Mm-hmm.
It was like one thing after, and then Donald Sterling saga. I mean, they had that window, but they never just were able to get over the hump.
Okay, here's your list of teams. There are 10 teams in the NBA that have not won an NBA title. Nets and Hornets, you can throw them out. Pacers, Clippers, Grizzlies.
Pacers might be a good
are right
one.
there. Timberwolves are up there.
But we need to draw the line of cursed to just bad, right?
Utah Jazz.
Utah is it. The Utah Jazz are it.
Yeah.
Because they've gone to finals. They've had the best team in the NBA. And what did they run into? They ran into the damn Houston Rockets and Chicago Bulls.
Okay, we have spots for let's see, 2 more teams. No, 1 more team. So we've got the Buffalo Bills, Minnesota Vikings, Utah Jazz.
In Major League Baseball, you look at teams like the San Diego Padres.
I think it's probably the Padres.
The Seattle Mariners.
Oh, no. Yeah, no.
But the Mariners,
they've
again,
been good.
They've never gone to the World Series, for God's sakes. Part of this is just like crippling losses. Would we go... Ooh.
Okay.
What about
5 teams have not won a World Series title? That's it.
Well, I think
Mariners, Brewers, Rockies, Padres, and Rays. It's got to be the Padres.
Yeah.
The Mariners are the only franchise to never appear in a World Series. So
And
that might be it.
But again, you're just bad at that point.
But I mean, 116 wins.
Yeah, you ain't wrong.
117.
Yeah, I think it was 119.
God. I think the Mariners might be because they are.
That was 116.
Yeah, it was 116. Okay, yes.
116?
Yeah.
Was it 119 total with their postseason in there too?
Could be, but no, because that was an AL record. Was the 116?
Holy smokes!
I think it's the Mariners.
I think it might be too. But again, like, God. And they've wasted so much talent, like generationally good players, whether you're talking about Ken Griffey Jr. or Ichiro or Felix Hernandez.
Alex Rodriguez.
But he got out while the getting's good. You're talking, you wasted careers.
Yes. If the alternative here is we drop either the Jazz or the Mariners and we add the Toronto Maple Leafs. 70 years now?
Hockey doesn't count.
Yeah, but I mean, they're
the original NHL team.
And it's their sport.
Yeah.
Like that.
Canada hasn't won a title in 31 years.
Their sport. It may. Yeah, I think we do. We gotta. Let's take the Vikings out.
I mean, I guess even the Raptors won a championship in their sport.
Yeah, I think the Mariners are going to run away with this just because of the fact that the local bias is gonna kick in. But I mean, this conversation is.
Well, with the Padres too, you had 20-some years of Tony Gwynn that just got wasted.
Yeah, I mean that's it. The first team
just the best hitter of all time.
The team that pops into my mind, it is the San Diego Padres. Yeah. When I think of cursed franchises in baseball, it's just ineptitude. It's not a curse.
It's not a curse. They were just poorly run forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You had the crime dog down there too for a bit with Tony Gwynn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That is tough.
That's tough.
Brutal, dude. All right.
Coming up next.
We got more polls.
Our college football rivalry trophy bracket challenge continues next here in hour number 3 on Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan. Hour number 3 here on Danny and Dusty. Whether you're listening on 1080 AM, which you're not, or...
No, you're not. You're not listening on 1080 AM. I have several text messages saying, "Hey, do you know you're off the air?" Yeah, we know.
No, we know.
We have gotten an update.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes. So apparently this is a PGE issue.
Yeah.
Right? It's a power outage, and they're trying to get things fixed. Apparently the part that is needed to fix it is en route, and they're aiming for like 3:30 this afternoon.
Oh,
perfect for us.
Look at that.
So anyway,
So
All
we can
if
be
you
back
are
up this afternoon.
If you are listening or watching along, you're probably on HD2 or you're on youtube.com/1080am the fan or twitch.tv/1080am the fan or the Odyssey app or 1080thefan.com.
All right.
There you go. Today we continue our series of college football rivalry trophies.
Oh,
we
yeah.
We have our winners from yesterday. Really, I think we did mostly correct here based on my individual input. We had the Governor's Cup between Kentucky and Louisville up against the Land of Lincoln between Illinois and Northwestern.
Okay.
Land of Lincoln walks away with that one.
Yeah.
Lincoln top hat.
It's a bronze top hat.
Yeah, it's a good trophy. The Jefferson
Well, let's
Epps-
face it, that's the piece I pick in Monopoly most of the time.
That's right. There you go. I'm the car guy myself. What can I say? Florida State UVA, the Jefferson Epps Trophy versus the Textile Bowl Cup.
Boy, the Jefferson Epps Trophy, it's named after the mayor of Tallahassee. Every time you say it, I think you're starting to say Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know. You just go Jefferson Epps, and I'm like, what?
Sorry, a third Epstein reference today?
Where's that island?
Finkel is Einhorn, Einhorn is Finkel.
What's happening?
Clean sweep there. It's 68-32 over the Textile Bowl.
All right.
And this is where we had a tough seed for the Wagon Wheel Trophy of Kent State Akron going up against Paul Bunyan of Michigan State.
Pow!
Won 68-32. Also a wild whooping. The Platte, Oregon State up against the Bronze Stalk. And all of you locals, you should be sick of you should be disgusted. The Platte wins 83-17.
No, can I spin
Bias.
this really quick?
Bias.
Bias is real, but you know what? We need this. Because we can have bad trophy. You got to be passionate about it.
Okay.
Though. You know, in the South, we had like the Governor's Cup for Georgia Tech the other day. It's a bad trophy.
It is.
It's not a good trophy at all. You know what? That would win in a landslide, no matter what it was up against. So I'm glad that maybe our Northwest sports are getting a little delusional. You know what? Get a little delusional. Care more. In the SEC, it just means more,
Just
right?
care more.
Care
There you
more.
go. That's a more Pac-12 friendly motto. Just care more.
What was that? Knocked Up? Was it Knocked Up or This Is 40?
For which one?
Care more. It's where Paul Rudd is married to
Leslie Mann.
Yes. And they are in both
And
of
This
those
is 40
movies.
was a spinoff of Knocked Up.
Knocked Up. They're in both of those, and
Yes.
she just the kids are saying something. He's like, I don't care. She goes, care more.
She coming in guns hot.
It's such a great. She is one of my favorites, by the way.
Them trying to get into the club
and that scene
is still one of my favorite.
Yeah.
Unexpected scenes.
Yep.
Craig Robinson made me cry.
Yeah, you old AF.
Yeah. No, you old AF.
And apropos of nothing, I still remember the time Craig Robinson came into studio one time with Isaac and Suk. And I'm sitting there getting ready for the TV side. And he points over, he goes, who's this weird guy sitting over here in front of all the computer monitors?
Yeah.
And then he goes, I just ate a gummy. I'm waiting for it to pop in.
And it did.
Yes.
And it did.
The guy was hilarious, too.
Yes. Super talented, too.
Great dude. And good on Judd Apatow, by the way.
For just letting that go.
No, he married Leslie Mann.
Oh, that's right.
That's his wife.
I totally
His
forgot about
wife and kids are married to Paul Rudd in that movie.
That's so random.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so those are our winners from yesterday. Today's trophies got some decent matchups.
Yeah.
The Cy-Hawk Trophy of Iowa State.
Yeah.
That one, you understand what it is.
You know what
it's
they
a
did, though?
disappointing trophy.
But you know what? It's not, though. You should have seen the old Cy-Hawk Trophy.
True.
It was worse.
It was worse. But you would think a matchup of the Cyclones and the Hawks would be a little bit better.
It should be.
The
Now, hear me out
Hawkeyes.
on this. Hear me out on this. It's a tornado with a bunch of corn, like, kind of coming out of the tornado. And
With
then
some
you got,
Hawkeyes
like,
in
the
the tornado.
Hawkeye, like, up on top of it.
Yeah.
You know, like
With a foot-
like circling.
with a football on top.
yeah, like circling.
That's
Yeah,
what
I
I
don't
would
remember eating any corn.
yeah.
It is going up against the other military trophy, the original itself, the Secretary's Trophy between Army and the Navy.
Boy. I think I'm just going to support the troops on this one. This is not. We don't have great ones here.
No.
We don't have great ones.
Our next matchup, I don't know. I think this is a good matchup.
This is a
Yes.
great matchup.
The Seminole War Canoe upset Florida State, not involved in this rivalry. The Seminoles themselves, not a part.
Not a part
Florida
of it.
and Miami,
The
they're a part of it.
Gators and the Hurricanes were like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to give out a big-ass canoe, and we're going to name it the Seminole Canoe, and it's going to make Florida State very upset.
Angry. Yes. And it is a full-on canoe.
Yeah, it's
it
like a
might
10-foot
be-
canoe.
It might be the biggest trophy. It's between that and the Paul Bunyan.
Yeah, the Paul Bunyan
It's
is
a massive trophy.
very big trophy.
And it's also all like solid wood.
Size matters. But with the canoe, like, it might be too big in that you can't, like,
Hoist
carry it out onto the field.
I mean,
because it looks like it has a stanchion that it's attached to.
if it has like hooks
Yeah.
where you can like slide it off.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Now we're talking. But it's a large one. It's going against the paddle wheel between Pitt and Cincinnati.
This is sweet.
And look, I'm going to oversell this one a little bit. The paddle wheel itself is like a riverboat paddle wheel, like where you gas brake kind of deal.
Yep.
And on one side, the full throttle has a Cincinnati emblem. On the other side, it has the Pitt. In the middle, it says stop, and there's a dead slow on each side. So it's like your ship speeds going down the River City rivalry.
And
between
as
Cincinnati
the
and
game is
Pittsburgh.
going on, that thing jostles back and forth, and it ends on the winner. So you go, depending on who wins that game, it's either in Pitt or Cincinnati's favor. This is a great trophy, and these both are phenomenal trophies. I did not know the paddle wheel existed before this, but it makes sense. Pittsburgh, known for Three Rivers, right? The Ohio River, Cincinnati. I'm all on board with this rivalry and trophy because it makes sense to have this for both of these teams. I'm in on it, and it's cool as hell.
It's very good. So that is one matchup, and in another, I would say good matchup. You have the Paniolo Trophy between Hawaii and Wyoming.
What did you say?
Paniolo.
Okay.
Not panties.
Okay.
Paniolo.
I thought there was T in there. I thought I heard a T.
Now,
I thought
the
I heard a
interesting
T.
thing about
Still
this
one of the most uncomfortable words in the English language.
Panty?
Yeah, that would be the one.
Yeah, that's it.
But the Paniolo Trophy
Marcus,
comes.
darling.
I feel like I need to go take a shower now.
It comes about because of Hawaii residents that, for whatever reason, relocated to Wyoming.
You want to talk about culture shock? Let me tell you about that journey from
island to Big
Hawaii
Sky?
to Wyoming. Why did they do that?
It doesn't specify, but it says when the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors and Wyoming Cowboys formed their rivalry in the WAC, it was because the rivalry started because the Wyoming Paniolo Society, a group of Hawaii residents with Wyoming roots, would attend it.
Okay.
So the trophy itself
in.
is a bronze cowboy on a horseback twirling a lariat.
Okay.
So
now they have only played 12 times since 1993.
yes, number one, they haven't played each other. Number two, there's a trophy that was lost and or stolen in between.
Yeah, they did not play between 1997 and 2013. That seems like an egregious break in your rivalry.
It makes it interesting.
Yeah. I like it. It's cool though. It's a cool looking trophy. You got a cowboy. He's roping a steer. Don't know how it really relates to the people of Hawaii at all, but all right, I'm in.
It is up against the Golden Cannon.
Yeah.
Another cannon.
But this is a less cool cannon.
It is. It is gold, which is pretty cool, between Central Michigan and Western Michigan. Man, Michigan teams, they do trophies well, though.
They do trophy, except for the directional trophy, which is
that was
the only bad one. Every other one has been fire, but you know what? I'm downgrading this one because it's tiny cannon.
It's a tiny cannon.
It's a
You
tiny
can
cannon.
lift it up.
You can't even shoot this cannon.
No. Well, I mean, you probably could, but it shoots like marbles.
I'm going Paniolo trophy for this one.
Ooh, the Pantiolo.
I am. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
All right. Our final matchup features the Florida Cup, which does involve Florida State.
All
Florida, Miami, and Florida State, in which looks like a BCS knockoff trophy.
Yeah, it's like, okay. It's the state of Florida, so I'm not putting this past them. The football, it's a football, and it's got like, it looks like it was like created in the 1980s in Miami. And it's got like these.
So somebody was coked out.
Yeah, these like curvy little stanchions that twist up, and they hold a golden football on top, and then there's like the state of Florida is in the middle of the trophy. The football looks like they spray painted a Nerf ball.
Yes.
Gold.
The texture and the shape, it looks
like a cheap little football.
Yeah.
This is a terrible trophy.
And
right on brand.
It's perfect because it's going to get absolutely slaughtered by the saddle of TCU and Texas Tech.
It is losing currently 96.9 to 3.1%.
Yeah, and with good reason, because it is a saddle, but the saddle itself is branded with a Tech vertically, and then the C is shared with a TCU emblemized into the saddle, as well as the West Texas Championship.
That's badass. You're just saying, UTEP, you don't matter. We know you're in West Texas. You don't matter. We're going to crush you. We are the two teams in West Texas. We know that you don't belong in this. Because how many times have we were going through this with the Beehive boot, right? Utah, BYU, and Utah State. Utah State doesn't belong in that conversation. Get out of here.
It's the Family Guy meme when you've got old Seamus with his old wooden hands being put into the hand pile.
And
like,
right now,
not you.
I applaud TCU and Texas Tech for being like, we're not going to acknowledge Utah.
No.
They don't need to be acknowledged.
They also have the stand that the saddle sits on, which has little golden badges for each victory for each team.
Very cool. Very cool.
So there you go. Those are your matchups for today. We have gone through. Where is my list? We are up to 40. We have 24 remaining.
Whoa.
24 remaining.
All right.
So we might do more than 4 a day.
No. This would be perfect for us. This would be perfect. It'll lead us right up to the kickoff of the college football season.
You're actually right. We probably will go right into it.
Yep.
But those are your matchups through 4 rounds now.
Oh,
your overall winners so far, so you can have an idea of the preview going into the next round.
Yep.
The Bones of Memphis UAB, the Jeweled Shillelagh of USC Notre Dame, the Oil Can of Fresno State, San Diego State, Floyd of Rosedale, Iowa, Minnesota, Ram Falcon Air Force, Colorado State, Silver Spade, UTEP, New Mexico State, the Commander's Trophy between Army, Navy, and Air Force,
it's tough.
The Stanford Axe of Stanford and Cal, Little Brown Jug of Michigan, Minnesota, the Fremont Cannon, the Big Boy Cannon, of Nevada UNLV, the Beehive Boot of the Utah Rivalry, the Bell, sneaking in there from Ohio Marshall because of a matchup.
Look, they'll get routed in the next round.
You got to have those upsets, though. There you go. The Platte coming in from Oregon State, Paul Bunyan of Michigan State, the Jefferson Epps of Florida State, University of Virginia, and the Land of Lincoln of Illinois Northwestern.
I still say the best name is the Bedazzled Shillelagh.
It's the Jeweled Shillelagh.
I know, I said that on purpose.
If you go Bedazzled Shillelagh, I think that more people will vote for it.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So go up across social media on at Danny Meringue, at Danny and Dusty, at 1080 the Fan. All the social media channels all have the poll up. Vote now and vote often, and log into other accounts and vote even more. Yes? No? Cheat the voting system? That's what I'm telling you to do?
Yes.
Okay. Coming up next, this is a big story coming out of Major League Baseball. Robert Manfred getting it right. Danny and Dusty, 1080 the Fan.
Marcus, darling.
God dang it. Rob Manfred, I might have to hand it to him.
Yes.
This is the epitome of the worst person you know just made a great point.
Rob Manfred's done a lot of things that have actually been very good for baseball.
Baseball
And
been very, very good to me.
he has been a guy that has caught the ire of baseball fans all over Major League Baseball.
Well, a lot of that has to do with his failure to do anything for a long time.
Well, I mean, he stepped in it a lot of times, whether it was the Astros punishment or lack thereof, his overall just kind of stewardship of the game, and
mostly inaction.
Yeah, inaction on a lot of things. You look at what he's done the last 2 years,
the
and it's
actual
been
action,
really good for the game. Whether it was increasing the sizes of the bases, the pitch clock has been fantastic for baseball, and the limitations on your timeouts and pitching changes. It's sped the game up. It's created more action, and look, the reality of it is, people are caring about baseball more than they have in quite a while. The regular season, like, they're doing a better job of promoting the game of baseball too, and propping up some stars now that we used to not see. Like, take Paul Skeens, for example. Baseball just would have done nothing about Paul Skeens to bolster his profile, to make the awareness about him. But you look everywhere. If there's a baseball story, Paul Skeens is attached to it, whether he's involved in it or not. And that's good for the game.
Yeah, I mean, from putting his first start
and
across...
yes, that has something to do with him.
Yes, it does.
And the people that he has hired underneath him to make sure people are promoted.
Yes, but the thing about this is, and I think it's important, is that instead of Mike Trouting him and going, oh, no, he'll just do it on his own, or Shohei Ohtaniing him, and think, oh, no, he'll just do it on his own. They have invested in them. So when Paul Skeens makes his debut, guess where it's at? Yeah. On national TV. It's picked up by everyone, and it's live, and it's simulcast, and it's everything, because you're trying to capture that moment.
Instituting a draft lottery as well, because Travis Bazzana, the #1 pick in baseball, he is currently in what organization?
The Guardians.
The Cleveland Guardians, who have the best record. They have the best record in the AL right now.
They did yesterday. I don't know.
Yeah, well, they're 72-49, percentage points ahead of the New York Yankees, who are 72-50.
And they lost 7 games in a row, and they're still there.
Yeah, I mean, they are.
It's very strange.
I think all of those things are good for baseball. So it's not. You don't have the White Sox and the A's getting rewarded by getting high picks and then continuing to suck. You are eliminating also tanking of good teams too, and trying to make it prohibitive for teams like the Astros or the Cubs to take the shortcut through hell, be very bad, and then all of a sudden pop back up, and you're like, hey, ready to spend now.
Hey, we're $250 million team now. Let's go.
And they intentionally lost games. That's not good for your sport when teams are intentionally losing games. Now you have people, rightfully so, coming at
Portland fans don't know how that goes.
Coming at the White Sox. Well, I mean, basketball is different, but it's 162 games you have to suffer through for like 3 years. You're stacking up loss after loss after loss. Like the White Sox, they suck just because they're bad.
Yes.
Their ownership is terrible. Their management is terrible. Same with the A's. Yeah.
But now, and this is a big deal, because all three of us grew up in an era where the workhorse pitcher was, I think, the defining thing of baseball.
Yeah.
Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, Randy Johnson.
Just name all of the Braves pitchers.
Yeah, you just go down the list.
Steve Avery.
Nolan Ryan being the workhorse of workhorses. But guys that it could, I remember, and this is again going full nostalgic, when #1 SportsCenter used to be ESPN used to be SportsCenter, and in the morning you'd get up and you'd watch what's coming for the day or from the night before, and you'd watch the baseball highlights, and in the stats column, you know what you saw from your pitching crew? 9 innings pitch, complete game. Yep. And you saw that regularly. That was not an uncommon thing to see. I can't remember the last time I saw a complete game.
This year, we are we just went through the standings. So 72 and 52. You've had 122 games played by the New York Yankees. If you take that across all 30 teams in baseball, right? That's a lot of games that have been played.
Probably 1,000 games.
1,000 games. 23 complete games have been pitched, and only 2 of them have been by only 2 players have more than one, and they're Kevin Gooseman and Max Fried. Those are the only 2. Each of them have thrown 2.
And that, I bet you that number was probably 10 times that 20 years ago.
Let's see.
What, Nolan Ryan himself probably has 10 times.
So CBS Sports went back to 1984. They went back 40 years ago.
Oh, perfect.
And starting pitchers had 12 pitchers had at least 11 complete games. And the MLB leader was Charlie Huff, who had 17 complete games that year.
By himself.
Charlie Huff?
Yeah.
Of course, I guess it doesn't hurt when you're throwing 46-mile-an-hour pitches.
But that's also the
other. Tell that to Nolan Ryan. Tell that to the Ryan Express, there, Pally.
Well, yeah, he was a power thrower, of course, but
he threw complete games all day long, and then ruined all of the Rangers' arms when he was the president of the Rangers, and said, "Yeah, we're gonna do it the way I did it," and all of their arms fell off.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
and he gave Robin Ventura one of the greatest noogies in the world.
That's right.
But I mean, guys like Roger Clemens and Randy Johnson, who were power pitchers too, that threw complete games, threw over 100+ pitches regularly.
Yep.
You had the CC Sabathias. You had these big dudes who were big because they needed it for the wear and tear of the season.
Well, and then you had guys like Dennis Eckersley who would come in the 9th inning, and like a closer was a big deal because it was like, oh, we go from a guy who started out in the low 90s, and then as the game wore on, he was throwing mid-80s, and then all of a sudden you have a flamethrower that goes back to mid-90s in the 9th inning, and that was a shock to everybody. And then baseball went, wait a minute.
What if we just did that all the time?
Yeah, what if we just never go into the mid-80s, and all we do is throw gas all day long? And it has slowed the game down, and it really has affected
injuries.
The amount of it's affected the amount of pitchers that we see in a game and their innings pitched in complete games.
Well, let's face it, back in those days too, though, we probably didn't have all of the overusage on young players that we do today.
And I think that is very valid because now you have, 15-year-olds that are throwing in the upper 80s. Yeah. 11-year-olds that are bringing the big hook into their repertoire. It's like, that's bad, and they're playing all year long and never giving their arms a rest. It's horrible. It's horrible for pitchers.
And that's part of this is that they want to inject offense back into baseball and have it be more than just home runs.
Yeah.
And what the pitch clock has done and speeding things up has increased things a little bit, but baseball is still being played slightly on the home run scale. The thumb is still being pressed. It's not as hard because base running has become more valuable. Base stealing has skyrocketed with the pitch clock and the only being able to throw over twice rule.
Well, and it's not just homers. You want extra base hits.
Yes.
So you want doubles or dingers. So when a guy gets on first now, they're finding the value on let's get him into scoring position, get him to second. So if it's not a dinger, we get a double and he's in, right? Or if it is another single by accident, then we get him in.
Yes, or first to third, and all the things that kind of come with that. But they want to get back to, and this is an idea that's been tossed around, is the idea of pitching as a science, as an art. Have you seen the clip that Major League Baseball put out of Maddox and Barry Bonds?
No.
So they're doing this whole thing as a lead up for Maddox, right, going in the hall and everything that goes along with that, and it's a back and forth between. They kind of Michael Jordan last danced him, right, with the iPad between Bonds and Maddox, and they gave him the same pitch sequence, and they asked Barry what he thought about it, and like, oh, he got me with this here, he got me with that here, and then you hear Maddox say, yeah, I wanted to do this. It was almost word for word, bar for bar, exactly what Barry had said, but after he throws a pitch, Maddox throws a pitch that he thinks is perfect, and Barry yanks it over the fence. He goes, that to me is a 92-mile-an-hour splitter on his hands. I mean, it's an insane pitch, right? And Maddox goes, that to me is a perfect pitch, but to the wrong player. And he goes, this is what's kind of missing in baseball today, is that the science of pitching is being thrown out of the window when you're talking about like sequencing and taking your time and working through a lineup multiple times where it's as opposed to I want to be able to throw a ball 104 miles an hour so they have a 0% chance of actually getting on it, or I want to throw a ball that has so much break that they can't hit it.
Yeah, I think the science maybe has gone too far. The art is gone,
Yes.
and the science is all they go off of.
Yes.
Because it's every hitter is pitched to based on your heat zones, right? Where you're hot, where you're cool, what pitches you struggle with. And all of a sudden, when you start losing your velocity and you see a guy, it's that third time through the lineup, right? The art is, okay, how do I counter that? If he knows his weaknesses just as well as the pitchers do. But if I lose a little bit of my velocity, the art of, all right, I'm going to counter you and I'm going to get you on your heels with something that you don't know. That's what's gone. It's all based on heat maps. We're going to go where it's becoming like climate change instead of pitching. That's why I love the fact that Major League Baseball is kicking around the idea of a 6-inning minimum for starting pitchers.
Sorry, go ahead.
Every starter has got to pitch 6 innings.
Or 100 pitches.
Well, there's 3 caveats. 100 pitches, 4 or more earned runs, or an injury. Those are the 3 outs that a team has for a pitcher getting yanked before 6 innings. That is very aggressive, but it gets out of the way because we have now teams in a 162-game schedule. They, instead of like the rest day for Tim Duncan in the NBA, they go bullpen days where they're just like, nah, screw it. We're going to pitch guys 2 innings apiece, and we're going to see where it goes from there. You get that out of it. You reduce the amount of pitching changes you have in a game, which inherently make the game longer.
And if guys know they have to pitch 6 innings, you know what they can't do? They can't rear back and tear their arms to shreds by throwing everything they can into every pitch for 4 innings.
Yes. And that CBS article I was talking about where they went back to 1984. In 2024, starting pitchers average 5 1/3 innings per start. In 1984, it was 6 1/3 innings. That is bringing the art back. It's bringing more strategy into the game than taking it out of the game and just saying,
1 inning is
we throw hard.
Substantial. Like it's another 20-ish probably average pitches.
25. 25, 30.
Because these guys are getting pulled at like 70, 75.
Yeah.
That's when they're getting pulled.
And so I think it would add more action to baseball too when you have that. You're going to have more balls in play. And I think that by doing this, not only would it, I think it would reduce, I think you're right in that guys would not have the ability to just rear back fire. I think it would help pitchers' arms.
You pick and choose when you want to bump that up a little bit.
I also think it changes dramatically hitters' approaches to extra base hits. Those are then all of a sudden a single means a whole heck of a lot because you can move runners around. You can move runners around. You have more action. You have more hits. And
the leadoff hitter has value.
It brings
again.
it.
The average hitter has value again.
Yep.
And I think you want to have across sports. I think the most important things you can have is have multiple value assets. Whether it's in the NFL, we're running the ball matters. You're not just throwing the ball 50 times.
Run damn ball.
In the NBA, shooting the 3 matters, but you also have to be able to score at the rim. You have to be able to play in the half court. Having multifaceted approaches to the games, I think, are the most important things you can have in sports. And I think baseball, this is a great way to address that. All right, coming up next, what's the most unhinged take you have for this upcoming NFL season? Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air, serving Portland, Southwest Washington, and the Gorge. Online at aneheatingandcooling.com. It's hard to stop a train. First on The Fan, the Mariners and Tigers wrapped up their 3-game set this morning. Mariners now 3 games behind the Astros in the AL West after getting swept in Detroit. 2-1 is your final. Javier Baez with a 2-run home run for the Tigers in the bottom of the 8th, ruining Bryce Miller's gem. 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 9 strikeouts with 0 walks. Seattle now headed to Pittsburgh, where they will face Paul Skeens in the first game of the series tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Astros start a 3-game set at the MLB's worst White Sox tomorrow as well. Over in golf, round one of the FedEx St. Jude Championship at TPC Southwind in Memphis. Chris Kirk at the top of the leaderboard, partially thanks to an ace on 14. He shot a 6 under 64. He is one stroke clear of Taylor Pendrith, Matthew Pavone, and Hideki Matsuyama among those tied for fifth at 4 under, 2 strokes off the pace. Justin Rose, Tommy Fleetwood, Scotty Scheffler, Seamus Power in there at 3 under par, tied for 12th, excuse me. And then Wyndham Clark, Rory McIlroy, Colin Morikawa, Jordan Spieth tied for 18th at 2 under, 4 strokes off the pace. The Portland Pickles hosting the West Coast League Championship for the first time ever. First pitch at Walker Stadium tomorrow night, 7:05 against the Wenatchee Apple Sox. Winner takes all. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Got a smart speaker? It's the Fan in your office and every room of your home. Tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
NFL preseason week 2 gets underway tonight. Your crappy Patriots take on the Eagles.
God, they're bad. And they got worse with Matthew Judon being traded.
They looked at Drake May and said, it's going to be a little while anyways. Let's go ahead and get some draft capital. Yeesh. Coming up this week, you also have the Cowboys, Raiders, Falcons, Ravens. I might actually tune into some Falcons.
Well, this is now that you only have 3 preseason games. I saw Andy Reid said that you're going to have the starters for the Chiefs playing the entire first half. Antonio Pierce said anybody that's healthy is going to be playing the first half.
Raiders have to decide on a starting quarterback. So
Gerard Mayo said that Drake May is going to get substantial playing time tonight, so can't wait to watch him just fail.
What if he comes out there and just lights it up?
That'll be great.
You're going to come in here with just
Oh, they're going to be so back. They're going to be so back when Drake May goes. I'm going to be like, sit him this year, let Brissett. We got Tom Brady 2.0, and his name's Drake May. Instead of being a 6th-round pick.
The Falcons play the Ravens, and the Ravens already have lost a preseason game, so it's done and over with, which means maybe you get back on the wagon. But
I don't know, man. Maybe you just ride the Seahawks now that Mike McDonald is their head coach. Maybe that is
who
the play.
cares the most about preseason now?
I still think it's the Ravens, but I'm gonna go.
I think it's like the
rookie
Ravens
head coaches
tour.
Rookie head coaches will care.
Okay,
they'll take this far too seriously.
How dysfunctional would I be if I bet on the Panthers losing? They're playing the Jets.
I mean, we have already got this established. You have a gambling problem.
But I mean,
no. Panthers losing is always a safe bet.
Right?
That's always going to be a safe
feels like
bet.
the safest bet you could make in the preseason is the Panthers losing.
I think in any game,
but I mean,
Panthers
in the
losing,
preseason, because
all of it.
even if they put their best version out there, it sucks.
Maybe this is the week you don't because they're going to play their starters longer.
Well, no, I think that's the reason you do is because even their starters suck.
They're going to be worse than the Jets' backups.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's kind of like
times are tough.
You know, you just
times are tough.
Here, there, otherwise. All right, coming up next, our most unhinged takes for the NFL season. Danny and Dusty, today the fan. All right, we're going to hot route this one because, something absolutely insane just came across the line as far as, real quick, who is the last person you would expect to play John Madden in a biopic?
Oh, I have an idea.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
But I'll let you get there since I told you in the break.
Yeah. Who they are actually going to have play John Madden may be the most ridiculous person of all time. And it is.
It would have been last on
last.
a list of 100 actors.
Yeah, it would take you probably 1,000 guesses to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nicolas Cage.
I don't understand this.
He's
Is
going
he
to face
financing
off
this?
and steal the independence.
He can't finance it. That's why he makes a movie every
That's
week
right,
because
got
he
the
owes so much in
taxes.
taxes.
That's right.
I mean, this is.
You mean to tell me the Truffle Pig movie didn't swear him away?
Yeah, no, it didn't.
This is.
Although I would have thought what was it, Willy's Wonderland? That was a good one.
What? Willy's
what it was
one.
called?
Oh, is that the Chuck E. Cheese joint that gets haunted or whatever?
Yeah, Willy's Wonderland.
Wait, he was in that?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, he was that movie.
Good Lord.
He was that entire movie.
Who decided this was a good idea?
Nick Cage.
Well, it's an Amazon biopic.
Okay.
Amazon MGM.
Okay. But why Nick Cage?
I have no idea. Somebody on the Joel on the YouTube said I would have gone Gary Busey.
We're gonna run. Option. What are we gonna? I don't know.
That's a big Dombrowski.
He's gonna go out there and then right before they go to win the Super Bowl, he's gonna be like, "Let's roll." This is terrible.
Al, lowrider, please.
I did see somebody pointed out that unfortunately the person who was probably best prepared or would best fit in this role has passed on, but Philip Seymour Hoffman.
I went John Goodman.
Yeah,
Goodman would be a good one.
I thought
He's
they would
probably
just
too old now.
put Frank Caliendo in there and just
There
let
we
him
go.
go because he's got the round face.
You need a round face and you need a large man.
Yeah, I mean Caliendo's short.
Yeah, we had him on stilts.
Yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman also short, but hell, Tom Cruise played Jack Reacher, so
And he's 5'5".
Yeah, and Jack Reacher in the books was described as like this mountain of a man.
Yeah,
and it was
what's
Tom
his name that plays
Cruise.
the one in the TV show?
That guy would have been
I
good to
forget his
play.
name, but yeah.
He would have been a decent one to play
Madden?
Madden because young John Madden was jacked.
Big dude.
Yeah.
Somebody also said they better get Kate McKinnon to play Al Davis.
Wow.
They just roll out the dummy from Tales from the Crypt and they'll put it in a white jumpsuit and they're like, there he is.
I would have gone Sarah Jessica Parker.
And then for Mark Davis, if Chris Farley was alive, you could have had him just in his outfit from when he played Giuliani's kid.
Oh God.
In SNL.
Yeah.
Because that was a dead ringer.
Oh, just have him go. This is maybe stretching it, but like Madden had some Harry Carey mannerisms to him when he was in the booth. But Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell would have, like, if he was doing booth Madden.
If you were making it like a comedy, sure.
Who's going to play young John Madden? Because how old is Nicolas Cage?
50-something?
60? I bet you he's 60.
All right.
It's kind of funny to type 60 on the dot.
Yeah.
Bang, biscuit.
Nick Cage age is a weird thing to type.
Yeah, he is 60 years old. And when
Well, his face isn't. His face is, I mean.
His face is about 13.
Well, I mean, how long ago was Face Off?
That's like almost 30 years old, probably.
Is it that old?
1997.
Oh,
wow. So his face is 27 years old.
I still want to see the remake of that one where he and Travolta just switch roles.
Oh. I don't know if you're familiar with the movie.
I am.
They switched faces. They didn't actually they didn't switch people.
So Nick Cage plays Nick Cage and Travolta plays Travolta. Is that what you want?
Basically.
Okay.
Something like that. I realize it's a whole mind-bending time warp thing.
God, what was his brother's name? It was a stupid name, almost as bad as like.
There was Castor Troy
Castor Troy.
Pollux Troy.
Pollux, that's right.
Yes.
I was watching
Alan Richson is Reacher.
Yes.
He would have been a far better Madden.
He's probably a little too jacked.
Yeah, I know, but you can slim him down a little bit. That would make a better Madden than he had a little bit of a round face. Say, hey, lay off the roids and get on
more carbs,
the Krispy Kremes for a little bit, and we'll get you in there.
Okay, so squirrel moment.
Yep.
Face Off. Best bad movie ever or worst good movie ever?
Best bad movie.
Best bad movie. It's not a good movie.
It's terrible.
Oh, it's fantastic.
The boat scene, like when they drive the boat up onto the shore, is so bad.
Yeah.
In every way, shape, matter, and form.
I love that movie.
Like, hey, let's do really intricate surgery in a warehouse, guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Speaking of terrible Nick Cage movies,
We've got the technology.
Con Air last night, and my God, what a torrential pile of crap. But Steve Buscemi as a serial killer
the star power in that one is phenomenal.
My God, is he so good in that role?
Just creepy AF.
Just made your skin crawl.
Yeah. Yeah. Buscemi has that effect on me no matter the role he plays.
One time, one of the girls I killed, I wore her head around it through an entire state like a hat. And I was just like, that line totally escaped my head.
You believe it.
And it was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Ugh.
Right?
That and Nick Cage's accent in that movie too is fantastic.
Put down the bunny.
I think with you saying it just right there, I think was he going after the old Tom Hanks Forrest Gump accent?
I think he was, to be honest.
I love you, Jenna.
Nick Cage is the worst best actor.
Yes, easily.
Like, he gets propped up. I'm sorry. You watch any of his movies, you're like, this is the same thing.
He's the same person in everything.
I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
And win the Super Bowl.
And I tell you what, it was a fun movie. The first National Treasure.
Oh,
was a
no,
fun
absolutely.
movie.
They're
fun.
fun.
It was, yeah.
If you want some mindless fun, absolutely. Those are great.
Man.
But yeah, John Madden. Who's doing Pat Summerall?
Ooh.
Is what's his name?